WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
I was a little surprised by two things this morning, Kevin. One of them took place last night. Number one, and it was wonderful to walk outside to come into work, and it was like, wow, I don't even need like a heavy coat.
God, what an awesome week of weather.
I mean, are we out of the woods?
Yeah, I think we finally are.
I hope.
A month after your no more freezing temps in the morning.
I know. We just jinxed it, right?
Prediction.
So that surprised me. Then the other thing that surprised me is the fact, and good morning to you, by the way, on a Tuesday, a first four Tuesday or play-in game Tuesday, a tussle in Dayton with the Cowboys Tuesday for Indiana that we will talk plenty about, and Ja Morant here, but maybe, like me, will simply be sitting in a chair watching the Pacers and the Grizzlies tonight. But also Deshaun Watson, Kevin. I was surprised at the news last night that the Colts, I guess you've got to at least make the call, but I kind of assumed that Indianapolis wouldn't have an interest in Deshaun Watson. I know he's a dynamic talent, but are you surprised that Adam Schefter reporting that Chris Ballard did make the phone call?
Maybe a slight surprise, Jake, but, one phone call and having interest and actually going after him, I think are two very different things with this situation. If you ever get to the finish line with Watson, you're going to have your ownership group sitting down with him in a one-on-one setting. We talked about it yesterday, kind of a three-pronged layer to this. For one, Houston's got to be willing to trade him within the division. Clearly, they are not. Number two, Watson has got to want to waive his no-trade clause for Indianapolis. The Colts have never been reported as one of those teams he is willing to do that for. And then third, again, you would have to get to that point where an initial call, I kind of just chalk it up as at the very least, Jake, you're gathering intel on, okay, where are we at with Watson? What would a possible trade package look like? I tweeted yesterday, I'd love to call Augusta National and see if they have any open tee times tomorrow afternoon. Like, it doesn't seem very realistic to me at all. I think it's just another reminder of welcome to where you're at right now at quarterback, and you have no direction, no definitive direction at that position.
I guess you at least make the call in case the Texans say, we've been through a lot and we're looking for a fifth rounder. Okay. We'll talk to our fan base and settle that. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can get it for pennies on the dollar, but I think,
what if the Texans are saying, yeah, we've been talking to the Raiders a little bit, and now you're like, oh, wow. Could that mean Derek Carr is open?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Cleveland was another team that popped into the fray last night. It was New Orleans and Carolina have reportedly been two NFC teams, which you would think Houston would want to trade him to the NFC, that have popped up the most with Watson. I think it was a late report last night that Cleveland. Now, I'm not sitting here saying you should go after Baker Mayfield if all of a sudden Deshaun Watson becomes a Brown, but just gathering intel to me is the bare minimum with all of this. So, again, I think from a three-layer approach, Houston is just not going to entertain that, and that's the first layer when you look at Watson's own decision-making with this no-trade clause, and then obviously Colts ownership having to sign off on it.
That's fair. By the way, as I had mentioned, it is spectacular outside. I think it's supposed to be nice today again, right? Good morning to you. That is the voice of Kevin Bowen. My name is Jake Query. Mark Dykton is here as well. Mark, you doing all right?
I'm doing good.
You seem wide awake this morning.
Oh, I know. It was a long day yesterday.
Mark, sorry about Razor Ramon.
Yeah, Scott Hall passed away last night. Very sad.
I'm going to show my naivete here. Because I was never, Mark, you are a big wrestling fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a 10-second nutshell, can you explain, he was with like the main wrestling deal and then went to something different, is that right?
Well, yeah, back in like the 80s and 90s, there was WWF and WCW. He was in WWF, and then he was one of the first defectors to go to WCW and then they joined Hulk Hogan, obviously a huge name, and Kevin Nash was his running buddy, and they formed the New World Order, which was a huge faction in the 90s. So that kind of the peak popularity of wrestling was the Attitude Era, as known. It was the Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW, and he was one of the main factors in that. So
pretty beloved, right?
Yeah, never won a world title. So as far as like a company guy, he was never the top guy in the company. But for a sports comparison, I'd say he was the Dan Marino of wrestling, where he never won a championship, but he was highly regarded by his peers and in the world.
Was he a heel?
Yeah, he was. Well, his moniker was the bad guy when he was Razor Ramon, but he would play a good guy here and there. But yeah, for the most part, he was a heel.
Okay, fair enough. Look, I'm not going to lie about the fact, not to be overly, serious on it, but when I hear about people that, especially at a younger age, and when I say younger, I mean, and I guess that becomes relative as you get older, but that have heart attacks, I mean, I'm like, whoa, because I've had a heart attack, obviously. But
and how old was he?
63.
He was 63. He had them during a procedure, right? Wasn't he having a surgery?
He's undergoing hip surgery, and he had apparently 3 heart attacks during the procedure.
Wow. Jeez. Okay.
And he got put on life support, and then they took him off yesterday.
I just saw a lot of people talking about it. I didn't watch wrestling growing up. I certainly knew of it, but, but at any rate, so there was a lot of talk, Kevin. I think a lot of people were expecting, understandably, which I think is pretty cool, kind of fun, that we're heading to Dayton. We're going to hit the road and go to Dayton. And then I thought about it. I actually thought, you know what, I'll go to that game. I mean, Indiana, Wyoming. But it's a 9:00 tip tonight in Dayton. That would put us back probably around 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, and honestly, Jake, 9:10 at the earliest, right? Because the first game is 6:40. Right. You got to think those 16 seeds are going to foul the hell out of each other late in the game to try and advance if it's close. So you would like a blowout, I think, if you're an Indiana fan or just anybody wanting to stay up and watch that game tonight. Yeah, it's 9:10 at the earliest. The more I thought about it, and by the way, we're going to have Reece Monaco, who is the voice of the Pokes. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Voice of the Pokes at 9:45, Jake's favorite play-by-play voice, I believe, in all of sports.
I did notice, I looked at his Twitter account yesterday. He's the radio play-by-play voice of the Wyoming Cowboy basketball program.
Yeah.
And all of his tweets are like, go Pokes, let's go, hashtag go Pokes. I'm like, he's the president of the fan club and the play-by-play guy.
Well, I think he's got to be an icon out there, to say the least. The more I've thought about this matchup, Jake, because, again, you broke it down, I thought, very well yesterday, that Wyoming does have a player in Graham Ike that is very similar to Trace Jackson Davis in, being a big guy, being a lefty, the numbers he puts up, all of that. I think the benefit that comes with Indiana, among other things, for tonight is this. How many Graham Ikes has Trace Jackson Davis faced this year?
Yeah.
How many Trace Jackson Davis has Graham Ike faced this year?
Good point.
The Big Ten is pretty battle-tested when it comes to front court
and Trace Jackson Davis played much better against Kofi Coburn in the Big Ten tournament than he did during the regular season, right?
So I just feel like when you break it down like that, to me, even in Xavier Johnson, I'm not going to undermine. The Mountain West has clearly sent multiple teams to the tournament, but especially Trace Jackson Davis, as long as Ike does not get him into foul trouble, I just think the battle-tested nature of facing the big guys in the Big Ten will be huge for Indiana in this matchup.
Yeah, I think, listen, now, the counter to that would be this. I don't know how many, whether it be Rob Finney or Xavier Johnson, I don't know how many players like Maldonado, who is the steering the ship for Wyoming's offense, those guys have faced. I mean,
and he's their 6'7" point guard.
Correct, a 6'7" point guard that everything just kind of runs through him. He's
point
not
forward-ish?
Kind of, yeah, because here's the thing. Wyoming has 2 shooters that will pull from anywhere, like Bohannon for Iowa is, that will shoot from anywhere, but they're not overly consistent per se. So if those shots are going, Wyoming can score in bunches, but it's been a long time, a month at least, since they've had their offense in sync like that. So if that's the case, then they rely basically on an inside-out game between Maldonado and Ike down low. and it's pretty easy to figure out, right? They run a lot of screens for Maldonado to try to get him a mid-range jumper, but I think Indiana has too many weapons. I think Indiana's going to wear them down, and by the end of the game, win by 7 to 10 points tonight.
Thought I saw something yesterday that Wyoming is a team that posts up more than anybody in college basketball.
I can see that,
which is kind of a bit of a throwback when you look at their approach. Certainly. So again, 9-10 tonight at the earliest. Break out your True TV channel guide. It is Indiana favored by 4. I'm assuming pretty much a home game for the Hoosiers in Dayton. I saw a lot of people complaining about, well, I can't believe they're sending Indiana to San Diego if they win, or Notre Dame Rutgers, or I guess it's Portland, I think is where IU or Wyoming would go. The winner of Notre Dame Rutgers tomorrow night in Dayton, they would go to San Diego. Jake, 10 years ago, Indiana, Notre Dame, Rutgers, Wyoming wouldn't even be in the tournament.
Right.
It's just kind of like
you're right.
You accept what you've got. It's not ideal, but this is what it is when you've expanded to 68. Sure, in a perfect world, you'd be sending them a little bit closer to Dayton, but I don't think it's very high on the selection committee's priority list.
I did look at the AP Top 25, and in the AP Top 25, there are 2 teams. Wake Forest is not in the tournament, right?
Am
I right
think
in that?
So, yeah.
Wake Forest and Texas A&M, the 2 schools getting votes or mentioned in the AP Top 25 that are not in the tournament. Shouldn't they be like, hey, put us in the playing game? We got votes. I don't see Indiana getting votes.
I mean, I was nervous about Texas A&M. I assume Notre Dame wasn't getting votes either. That would be my guess there. I mean, Notre Dame, again, the last team out, and Indiana, the second to last team out, based off the seed list. Rob Blackman, voice of the Boiler, is going to join us at 9 o'clock. We'll talk more about Purdue and Yale on Friday at 2 o'clock and the draw that Purdue got. We'll obviously give away more NCAA tournament numbers. What do we do, about a dozen yesterday?
I forgot about the numbers. Yeah, that's right. We have...
So we got plenty of more to give away over the next couple of days. And
yeah, we've got a lot to give. We gave away... we gave away a decent amount yesterday. 6, 9... Almost 20, probably. Yeah, we gave away 17 yesterday, almost half or a quarter of the field.
Do we really? Okay, so yeah, so we're in good shape there. And obviously a whole lot to get to Colts free agency-wise. A re-signing of Mo Alie-Cox. Mark Glowinski goes to the Giants.
Was that a surprise to you?
That was not a surprise at all. Honestly, Jake, I think that was the Colts saying, Mark, we appreciate it, pat him on the back, but realize at some points you got to make sacrifices on your O-line. And you've got in-house options. Danny Pinter, the third-year player out of Ball State, I think is an interior option certainly that you need to explore. And then Chris Reed is a free agent as well, who I thought when he was needed this past season played pretty good football for you, and will be much cheaper than Glowinski, 3 years, $20 million. It's kind of funny, Jake. The Colts re-signed a starting tight end in Mo Alie-Cox, saw a starting right guard leave, and I think the need is more at tight end than it is at right guard.
Yeah, I mean, tight end.
If that makes sense. Like, tight end is still a need, and the Jack Doyle retirement adds to it. Right guard, you've got an in-house option in Pinter. You can re-sign Chris Reed as well. I don't think you need to go outside of your building for that. Now, tight end is where I think you need to go outside of your building.
There was some speculation, and maybe it was simply outside the building speculation, Kevin, or just people thinking aloud. But one of the names that was thought of as being a possible trade piece would be Ryan Kelly. But if Danny Pinter now has got to stick to right guard, then clearly Danny Pinter is not, like, you're pretty locked in to the fact that Ryan Kelly's going to be your center if you are starting to pigeonhole guys in other areas that have been flexible pieces that you can move around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do think the interior offers some chance to, you can be pretty interchangeable within those 3 spots. If you had a group of Quentin Nelson, Chris Reed, and Danny Pinter, for example, if you were to trade Ryan Kelly, then you could have, boom, Pinter, yeah, we thought, maybe you at right guard, but we'll move you over to center, something along those lines. They have more interior options on their roster than they do exterior. Doesn't sound right. We'll just say tackle options.
Right. And a tackle.
Yeah, tackle's dire. I mean, we talk about quarterback, Jake.
Do they
had less plan at left tackle than they did at quarterback.
Do they have one on the roster right now?
No. Matt Pryor, 1 career start at left tackle. Paul wanted to talk tight ends, you said, Mark? What's up, Paul?
What's up, fellas?
How we doing?
I'm good. I'm just sitting here wondering how the hell the Colts can need a tight end, watch one of the dynamic tight ends in the league, go to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Evan Ingram and bring back slow-ass Mo Alie-Cox. I don't understand. I don't understand what Chris Ballard is doing, especially when Jim Irsay said all chips in. And another thing, if the Colts go after Jimmy Garopollo, that is a mistake. We have no draft capital. We have to trade what draft capital we have to get him. Go after Jameis Winston or somebody who's a free agent and get somebody in here who's going to steady the ship. We have problems with tight ends. We ain't going to be able to cover Evan Ingram with our linebackers because we always get roasted by tight ends. I'm listening, Jake. Go ahead and say what you was going to say.
No, wait a minute. Now, Paul, all I did was, take a breath there, and you knew that was me. Okay, Paul.
I think you called earlier this year and called him slow ass as well, so I don't think he's gotten any faster.
So, Paul, first off, you are my favorite caller since I've been doing this now since November. Okay, you are P1. You've taken pole position. From now on, with your permission, when you call in, I'm going to refer to you as Angry Paul. Is that cool?
If it's about the Colts and losing, I will be angry.
Okay. Secondly, I'd like to know why you're up at 7:15 in the morning, which is much appreciated, but what's got you up so early?
Mailman.
You're a mailman?
I got work to do.
Do you like dogs?
I have a dog, but when I was walking, I got chased by lots of dogs. But no, I did not like that.
I'm glad the weather is good for you, Paul.
I know, no kidding, man. Sleep doesn't hold you back. Neither does talking about the Colts. Paul, I appreciate it. By the way, I've got a Paul the Mailman. My buddy Paul Hurley's Paul the Mailman also.
I've got Tom, and Tom is an avid listener, Tom the Mailman, in my neighborhood. Jake, you see Ian Rappaport said the Colts favored for Jimmy Garoppolo?
That doesn't surprise me because at this point, and to Paul's point, he makes an excellent point, I think. An excellent point, and that is, why would you trade for a guy when there are people out there that you can get without having to spend any? You've already sent out your number one. So I think he makes a really good point there. Garoppolo, it would seem, Kevin, that the Colts would be the front runner because if San Francisco is looking, in fact, to part with him, the seats are starting to fill up here, right?
So shouldn't that help the Colts from a leverage standpoint?
Yes. Trubisky, Pittsburgh.
How about Bridgewater taking that backup job in Miami? You surprised by that?
No, I think Bridgewater probably well, first off, is a backup job in Miami really a backup job? You know what I mean?
Touche.
You're constantly in the mix there.
Yeah.
I guess that frees up Brissett, does it not?
And?
The YouTube chat is saying
did the NFL
Postal
expand?
Paul. Postal Paul.
Postal Paul is good, yeah.
He's a
Postal Pissed Paul.
There you go. Pissed Postal
nice.
Paul.
PPP, right?
I can't do Garoppolo, Jake. Too hurt. Too much injury. You look at the playoff numbers. Ooh, man. They take a huge dip from the regular season. Huge dip there. And I listened to Frank Reich and Chris Ballard here during the offseason. They have been, it's probably the most animated pissed I've seen Ballard in talking about the lack of offseason work the Colts got done last year. Part of that was player driven. The players didn't want to be here. And part of that was the Colts accepting that as well. It sounds like Jimmy Garoppolo, at the best, you'd have him out there early at Grand Park for training camp. At the best. That is like the expectation right now. That's the hope, I should say. Boy, right shoulder, that's too scary for me.
I get, and especially when, Kevin, the Colts were so adamant about, I think that Jim Irsay truly was, PO'd is probably the wrong word, but he did not want to go through after the Andrew Luck experience and then Carson Wentz with the foot in training camp. I think, Kevin, they are very hesitant to get somebody that cannot hit the ground running through OTAs and all the way through.
As they should be.
Correct.
And Garoppolo is a one-year experiment. And, it's a new offense, it's new personnel. Now, the 49ers have a decision to make here very soon on hand because he's going to count against the cap starting tomorrow at 4 o'clock when the new league year begins. So can you create some leverage there? Can you say, all right, Garoppolo's, worth much more than this, but you've got no choice. You guys got to get under the cap. We'll trade you a 4th-round pick for him, something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's something you would do, but that injury situation would really, really worry me, among other things. Obviously, a ton to get into on the Colts and their quiet start to free agency. As I said all along, I'll believe it when I see it. Chris Ballard changing things up, and so far, a day into free agency, it's pretty par for the course on where they've been. A lot of calls to get to as well on that front, and we'll give away some NCAA tournament numbers as well. It is the start to a gorgeous Tuesday and should be a gorgeous couple of days here in the Circle City. Jake Query, Mark Dykton, Kevin Bowen on a Tuesday.
School is in session.
Fred McCaffrey. Got to be cool to win, number one, but even cooler with your 2 boys there.
We've been to conference tournaments. I remember we won it when I was at Siena, and they were 4th and 5th grade, hugging them on the court. But to do it when they both played well this weekend. And they're so close with the guys on the team. They grew up with the Murrays. It was really, really emotional. Very special for Hawkeye Nation, too.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Hey, it's JMV. Ray's Trash Services, the largest independent recycling and waste solutions provider in the Indianapolis area, and right now, they're looking for great people to join the team. Ray's is a family-operated business and has been providing Central Indiana with industry-leading recycling and waste disposal solutions since 1965. They focus a lot on the culture to make it a great place to work. Go to raystrash.com to see the career opportunities waiting for you. That's raystrash.com today. Ray's, your recycling and waste solutions partner.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Hi, this is Ted Bishop, PGA General Manager at the Legends Golf Club in Franklin. This year, we are celebrating our 30th anniversary of being in business, and I want to personally invite you to become a member at our course, which was selected as the 2021 Indiana Golf Course of the Year. We are offering a limited number of 2-year Monday through Friday memberships starting at $199 a year. Yep, you heard it right, only $199 a year, and you can upgrade to a 7-day membership for only $50 per year more. If you ride, you just pay for the golf cart, and if you walk, there's no additional charge. These memberships will expire on December 31 of 2023. Legends has 27 Fazio Design Championship holes. Our regular players will tell you that we are known for great playing conditions and a friendly staff. Join the Legends Golf Club today. Don't delay, because limited spots are available. Call 317-736-8186 or buy online at thelegendsgolfclub.com. And I'll see you on the first tee.
Hi, I'm a jewelry consultant at Shane Company. Visit us and you'll be dazzled by our stylish selection of jewelry you'll enjoy wearing every day. We have lots of styles you can personalize. Just select your favorite gemstone to create a one-of-a-kind necklace or ring. You can choose a radiant ruby or a sapphire. We have over a dozen colors, or a purple amethyst, London blue topaz, or peach morganite. We're known for our vibrant, natural gemstones. Customers love our signature shade of rose gold. It has a soft blush tone. We have all the classics in rose gold: hoop earrings, studs, tennis bracelets, you name it. We also have gorgeous gold chains in a variety of styles, including herringbone chains, paperclip chains, and more. If you want something extraordinary, check out Tom's Finds, our limited edition collections featuring rare gemstones from around the world. Whether you're looking to build your jewelry wardrobe with a classic, or you just want to treat yourself, come in and have some fun.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Every dribble, every pass, and every bucket, all in the palm of your hand. Because now you can sign up and bet. No strings attached with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app featuring award-winning customer service. Live in-game bets, player props, and instant betting bucket to bucket. Don't miss out on all the big games. Get in the action with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
You're in luck at Twin Peaks, a costume party with all-day specials on festive favorites March 12th through 17th, featuring sweet deals on St. Patty's Day staples like Jameson Proper No. 12 or Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskies, Irish Car Bombs, Irish Mules, and more. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hey guys, looking for a reason to spend 3 days on the couch watching basketball? Schedule your vasectomy at Urology of Indiana for a Thursday or Friday, then sit back, relax, and catch some games over the weekend while you recover. It may be the only time your wife approves of hoarding the couch and the remote control. Vasectomies at Urology of Indiana are simple and typically take only about 15 minutes. Soon after, you'll be out the door and on your way home. During your recovery, you'll take ibuprofen and be back to your normal activities in 3 days. The docs at Urology of Indiana are board certified and perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long. They're pros at what they do. And they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. If you've been putting off your vasectomy, now is the time. You'll never have a better excuse to watch basketball. Call Urology of Indiana or visit vasectomyindy.com for information and to schedule an appointment. That's vasectomyindy.com.
Even though it's cold outside, now is the time to plan your backyard project. Mark Rowland with Indy Decorative Concrete here. Learn the advantages of our stamped concrete patios. Endless design options, low maintenance, structurally superior, typically lower cost than wood decks or pavers, all backed by the best service and best warranty in town. Visit our showroom on Brookville Road or check us out at indydecorativeconcrete.com.
This Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Big one tonight in Dayton, Ohio, Indiana, Wyoming. NCAA Tournament 9:10 tip. Approximately 9:10, right, Kevin?
Approximately 9:10. The first game is what? Texas Southern and Corpus Christi?
By the way, somebody did just ask this, and I want to go over this one more time. And it's a great question. I used to ask this all the time. Wait a minute. If it's a play-in game, how does that not take place? Where if you've got to play your way in, shouldn't you be a 16 seed if you win? What they do is the play-in games are the last teams that are... There are two groups in the NCAA tournament. People that have an automatic bid because they won their conference tournament, and teams that were given an at-large invitation because of their overall body of work. The play-in games are the last remainders or the lowest ranked of the conference tournaments, and then also play-in games of the last teams on that list of at-large entries. So you're in either Group A or Group B. Indiana and Wyoming, the last among the teams that were invited as an at-large, thus they've got to play their way in.
Here was Mike Woodson yesterday on the Cowboys of Wyoming.
Very, very well coached. Big team, used to start a 6'7", 6'7" point guard. That should tell you a lot. Hunter is as good as they come at the point guard spot. They got a big presence inside with Ike, and then they got perimeter guys and Xavier and Drake and Odin, guys that can make shots. So they well balanced, and you don't win 25 games not being well balanced.
Again, 9 o'clock just after that tip. Maldonado's the key for Wyoming. Zero question about that. NBA tonight, Pacers Grizz, 7 o'clock tip at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But it appears as though while Murray State is coming to Indianapolis to play in the NCAA tournament, their most famous alum, Ja Morant, is in Indy but won't be playing, it appears. Looks like he's going to rest tonight.
Yeah, doubtful with back soreness. He did play on Sunday. Obviously, a lot of Indiana ties. Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Conchar from Purdue Fort Wayne as well. It's crazy Memphis is a 2 seed in the West, Jake.
Yeah, they're good, man.
Really good and really fun to watch. How about the Kings getting an important win last night? So that's good news for the Pacers as they try to maintain their spot in the tanking seedings. 15 games to go for Indiana. No, less than that. 13 games to go at 23-46. After tonight, they will be off until a trip to Houston on Friday. Purdue and Yale this Friday. That's 2 o'clock from Milwaukee. For Purdue fans going up there, they've got an open practice Thursday afternoon at 1:30. This is a little bit on the degenerate side, Jake, but someone tweeted at me yesterday. You know, Purdue was 0-10 against the spread in their last 10.
Really? I did not know that.
Have not covered one of their last 10.
What's their spread against Yale?
15 points was what it opened at.
Man,
Yale,
the tournament.
No one over 6.
I would be really hesitant. You know, there's something like, I saw somebody say there are more opening round games in this tournament with a 3-point or less margin, 3 points or fewer that are given in the point spread than like any tournament in the last 5 years. So, I mean, there's a lot of parity, but when it comes to those 2-15, 3-14 matchups, I'd be really hesitant to take anything on point spread on that because you just never know with some of these smaller teams how good they are, right?
No, it's very difficult. I think that's the beauty of the tournament. All right, we come back here on Kevin and Query. Again, Mark Glowinski to the Giants. Mo Alie-Cox re-signed by the Colts. Outside of that, it was a quiet day one of free agency. We'll touch on that. Chris Ballard's approach. Should the Colts be the favorite for Jimmy Garopollo? We'll hit on that as well. Plenty of calls to get to. Kevin and Query on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Join me today. We're going to talk to the great Steve Alford at 1 o'clock. He is with the Nevada Wolfpack. They played Wyoming numerous times. He'll break the game down for us at 1. Steve Alford, ladies and gentlemen.
Start your bracket with a bang. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, and so much more. I feel like Kentucky's been under the radar a little bit this season, so I like them to make a run, but it's up to you which way you want to go. Plus, with cash out, the ball's in your court, so you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game's over. Join FanDuel today with promo code MARK, then place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. Again, that's promo code MARK on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
At Gamebridge Fieldhouse, we protect home court. We battle.
As Hayward gets inside, that's blocked again by Turner.
Dig deep.
Brogdon for 3. Got it!
For tip-off through the final buzzer. It's game time at the Fieldhouse.
Your Indiana Pacers host the Memphis Grizzlies Tuesday at 7. It's the only visit by the Grizzlies in high-scoring Ja Morant. Get your tickets at Pacers.com. That's Pacers.com. Pacers Grizzlies, Tuesday at 7.
A while back, we at AmericanEagle.com were asked to build the e-commerce site of a major candy distributor. With the need for a website that could take into account everything from shipping times to local weather, because, candy melts, the task was not like taking candy from a baby. Fortunately, we live for a good digital challenge and free bonbons. So we got to work on a slew of complex integrations, including a shipping algorithm that factored in variables like distance, speed, and location. The website even let the end customer personalize their candy for special events, like weddings or, major website launches. When all was said and done, our client enjoyed a significant increase in traffic, which we were also well prepared for, and an increase in average order size. A sweet result indeed. For complex e-commerce sites, digital marketing, UX, and more, talk to the experts at AmericanEagle.com. Don't just grow, soar.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about hockey than engagement rings. You're at a game and your team scores the winning goal just as time runs out. Now, if that game is your proposal and you're running out of time to find the perfect engagement ring, Hellsberg Diamonds is your winning shot. Our combination of quality diamonds, wide selection, and a price match guarantee means you can be confident in your Hellsberg Diamonds engagement ring buzzer beater. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our amazing financing options or check us out at Hellsberg.com.
All right, if you're suffering every day with joint pain, you need to listen because QC Kinetics can help all of us with lasting relief and natural biologic treatments. I'm Kevin Bowen, and this is the nation's leader, QC Kinetics, in the regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue with no surgery and no drugs. It's the relief you've been hoping for. For your aching pain, whether it's hips, knees, shoulder, lower back, the unique protocols at QC Kinetics were created by a physician with years of study in regenerative medicine. Honestly, right now, with how the Colts are operating in free agency, we're all probably feeling a little bit of extra pain. They're treating patients every day at hundreds of clinics nationwide. It's the new, better, smarter, non-surgical, non-invasive way to deal with joint pain, and they are ready to help us. So call for a free consultation. Make this spring and summer your best ever with no joint pain holding you back. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160.
Indy, finally springtime, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Edwina did. She called Rhino Shield.
Over the years, I had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
I'd had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Indy, now get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Grammy Award winner, Darius Rucker Live. 2 shows this Friday and Saturday night, 8 p.m. Murat Theater at Old National Center. With special guest, Kaylee Hammock. Darius Rucker. 2 shows this Friday and Saturday night. Reserve seat tickets on sale now online at livenation.com. Don't miss Darius Rucker Live.
Indianapolis. At Geico, our employees' careers matter to us.
An inclusive office matters to me.
We hear you, Kelly. Geico has employee resource groups that bring people from all communities together because diversity matters. Your hopes and dreams matter. Even giving you a little space for your lucky bobblehead matters.
Want to work at Geico, Randy? Oh, he says yes.
When it comes to your career, what matters to you matters to Geico. We're now hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply today at careers.geico.com/Indianapolis and let's get growing.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
23 minutes before the hour. Yes, in fact, we will give away some numbers here coming up. But we want to talk about free agency and the Colts. And Kevin, most notably, I guess we could do this in kind of 2 groups. Number one is the big moves that took place yesterday in the NFL, if any. That there were a couple that were a little bit eyebrow raising. But moves that happened around the league, and then any that happened that you thought, well, that might have impact on the Colts, if any.
Well, obviously, Jacksonville was super active yesterday. I know a lot of people eyebrow raising at some of those numbers. I don't really overreact to a lot of these numbers that you see get thrown around, Jake, for a couple of reasons. First, I feel like we forget the cap goes up on a pretty annual basis. I know COVID impacted that as well, but a lot of this you probably need to look deeper into the numbers and look at the percentage of the cap. Just because one wideout's making $15 million this year, that's not what $15 million was 5 years ago in the NFL with how the cap rises. The other thing is, you can manipulate the cap so much in the NFL. The Saints and the Rams are 2 perfect examples of it, where they've been able to really manipulate things. And at times, I just feel like there's not a lack of trust with the Colts and their capologists, because I know Mike Bloom is thought of as very highly, but I look at the Colts cap situation, I'm like, it's not like you're paying anybody coming up a gargantuan amount outside of Quentin Nelson. You don't have a quarterback to pay. You don't have a left tackle to pay. You don't have a wideout or an edge rusher to pay. There's no need to just hoard this money for next offseason. So that has always been confusing to me with the Colts and their approach. It is day one. It is early. I made a list yesterday of the top 100 free agents I post on 1075thefan.com. I think 27 of them agreed to terms with other teams. So, there's still a large number that are out there. It just has always confused me. And yesterday was another reminder, Jake, of how Chris Ballard really refuses to use such an important week of the offseason. If you want, there is a risk in the draft and there's a risk in free agency. Again, you can work around your finances a little bit more. You can't work around missing on a draft pick because that is a resource that you use it and you can't get it back again.
Right.
Money, you can finagle it a little bit more. You want proven talent? This is the time to do it. These guys have proven themselves in the NFL. Yes, you're paying A money for B players, but paying B money for C players, which is how Ballard typically operates in free agency, has put you as an average team in the AFC. And if you continue to operate like that, you'll continue to be an average team in the AFC.
What is enigmatic to me is the following. In the NFL in 2022, soon to be 2023, what are the 3 positions that are the biggest luxury? In other words, positions that, if you've got a good player in them, it's nice, but that are the least important in today's NFL.
Yeah, I would say, and I certainly know where you're going with this, probably in some order, running back, linebacker, and guard.
Where are the Colts' 3 best players?
Boom, boom, boom.
What are in 2022, soon to be 2023, what are the 3 probably most critical areas of an NFL team? What are the 3 most important positions?
Yeah, quarterback, wide out, pass rush.
Or quarterback, wide out, pass rush, left tackle protection for your quarterback. They don't have any of it. They have literally and I know that things can change, and I'm sure there's a plan. I hope there is. Please tell me we're banking here on more than phone calls and footlockers, right?
Yeah, and we're having this conversation Tuesday morning at 7:40.
Yeah, and it's Tuesday at 7:40 in March. I get it. But as of right now, it feels like the Colts have it feels like the Colts have like a really like they're driving a Hummer that's made for the snow in Fort Lauderdale. And they're like, I'm telling you what, if we get a blizzard down here, man, we are good to go. Yeah, it's not going to snow in Fort Lauderdale. What are you doing? Like everybody else is getting cars that are fuel efficient and can navigate traffic. What are you doing? It just that's what it feels like. It just feels like they're going with an approach. And I'm not saying that you've got to always be a sheep follow leader, but it seems like they're going with an approach that is just outdated.
Jake, I've seriously interviewed, I guess, for 2 organizations, companies in my life. The resume folder I walked in with the first company was not the same resume folder I walked in with the second company. In order to get that second job, I had to make adjustments and tweaks from what I thought was necessary walking into the first job. And I look at Chris Ballard right now, Jake, heading into year 6, and he's still carrying with him the same binder he carried with him in January 2017, thinking this is the blueprint to build a team. This is how you got to do it, and you can't deviate from it. You've got to make tweaks. You've got to make adjustments. And we've used the word stubborn with the quarterback that now is in Washington. There is a stubbornness with how he has built this roster. And on 2 different occasions, I've asked him this offseason, Jake, after the season ended, 4 days after it ended, said to him, have you thought about your roster building approach? He begins the answer saying, I have thought long and hard about it. And I'm like, oh, this could actually, go somewhere maybe a little different. And then the rest of the answer was, but I'm still going to be, who I am as a roster builder, and I believe in this, believe in that. So then the combine a couple weeks ago, I'm thinking, all right, he's seen the playoffs unfold. The first round pick is not there. Another chance to ask that question. And he just kind of shakes his head and uses a very similar answer to how he has viewed the free agency period. I think free agency has such a negative stereotype, an unfair stereotype put on it. And we mentioned the Field Yates tweet from yesterday. The last 6 years, the highest spender in free agency has improved their win total each and every season by 3 wins. You know how much 3 wins is in the NFL? That is a huge amount. At some point,
I mean, look at this year, Kevin. 3 more wins gets the Colts. They go from outside looking in to
hosting a home playoff
game.
Maybe in the number 1 seed. I don't know what Tennessee finished the season at, but at some point you've got to tweak. By no means, and I want to make this clear, by no means am I saying you can build through free agency. No. But you can support, you can bolster, you can fill some holes, especially when you don't have a first-round pick coming up late next month.
239-1070 is the telephone number. Talking about the Colts, Nick joins us this morning. Hi, Nick. How are you? Good morning.
Brother, how you doing, man?
Doing fine, thanks.
Hey, being the academician that you are, Jake, you've heard of the concept of Occam's razor, right?
Now, first off, I haven't shaved, so no.
I was going to say it does look a little
white too.
Thick for you.
Yeah, my face looks fat when I do that. Nick, I appreciate the fact that you would, and I don't even know. You said academia. How did you describe me?
The academician, my friend. Go back for your degree. I'm master's educated. I appreciate what you're doing and the classes you're taking. I appreciate it. And I'm thinking, okay, he's got a head on his shoulders. Would he know what Occam's razor is?
I actually don't know what it is, so we might as well illuminate that for everyone.
Okay, it's referenced in Big Bang Theory, but it's a concept used in physics. It usually means when all their explanations have been rolled out, the simplest one is usually the right one.
Gotcha. Okay.
When it comes to Chris Ballard, and I know we like to hyperanalyze to make people entertained and everything, but the simplest explanation is this: the guy's stuck in 1980. Okay, the guy is stubborn. Okay, that's who he is. Okay, and all the signs have pointed to he doesn't see the value in a quarterback. He doesn't. And you know what? Using a quote from Office Space, this guy, and I got to agree with my boy Dan Dockich, he's a survivor. He does just enough not to get fired. And you know what? I think this whole Michigatz of a problem is a good thing for the Colts. I think next year is going to be a pretty disappointing year. And it'll be more revealing to the city, the fans, and good old Jimmy up there that this guy's not the guy. And I think it'll lead to good things for us in the future. And I know, Kevin, you don't like to get too deep in the weeds on that, but wouldn't you agree that it'd be a blessing in disguise if we did have that rough year, we could finally get our quarterback for the future?
Yeah, I think that there's probably a lot of validity behind that, similar to the Pacers in the season that they're currently undergoing. Obviously, with the NFL, there's never a guarantee. I mean, even if you have the third overall pick, if teams drafting 1 and 2 really need that quarterback, and boom, it's CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a couple names, then you're left in the same boat. You have to have a little bit of luck factored in as well. The thing that has also kind of confused me about it, Jake, is I do think when Ballard has used free agency, he's found success. Like, there has been several, Danico Autry, Jabal Sheard, right. Eric Ebron was a success story. I know it didn't last for very long, but it was certainly that. But then the second time around with Autry, to me, is a perfect example. You have a guy that brings an edge and a toughness to your football team that, frankly, you've lacked in other areas. You set a very defined value on Autry, and the team in your own division sweetens the pot just a hair, and your stubbornness allows you to say, all right, well, there you go, and boom, what does Danico Autry do last year for Tennessee? He's got more sacks than DeForest Buckner had, and he's a big reason why they were the number 1 overall seed, despite Derrick Henry missing half the season.
Let me tell you one thing that I'm so over. I get it. Andrew Luck hijacked the franchise. What yada yada. Fine. Like, you can't on one hand tell me about how Andrew Luck hijacked the franchise, and then on the other hand talk about how, like, Chris Ballard is stuck in the mud and comes up short. Well, if you're talking about Andrew Luck hijacking the franchise, then you are giving free pass for Chris Ballard all the way through. I don't think Andrew Luck, when he retired, I think it threw them a curveball for a year. I don't think I don't think he hijacked the franchise, because it's been, how long? 4 years? How long has it been? 3-4 years?
Yeah, he retired just before the start of the 2019 season.
Yeah, so I mean, look, that's an eternity in the NFL.
And it's not like you lost any draft picks with it.
He didn't carjack the Colts. He made them make a wrong turn. And, like, that's an eternity in the NFL. I don't want to hear that excuse anymore. It's an excuse. It's been too long.
I was texting back and forth, I guess it was Friday now, with someone pretty high up in the organization, and basically they were throwing the question at me like, what else would you have done? Who else would you have gone after? And I said to this person basically what I say from 7 to 10 a.m. every single day. Jake, as soon as Andrew Luck retires and you're sitting there that next draft with the 13th overall pick, and then the next year you're sitting there at the 21st overall pick, if you thought Matthew Stafford was unrealistic, and again, Chris Ballard, not a fan of Matthew Stafford for the umpteenth time in case we need to remind people of that. When you're sitting there in those two drafts, and by all accounts, when you had the 13th overall pick, there were 3 quarterbacks that people thought very highly of. Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. Last year's draft, 5 quarterbacks go in the first 15 picks. 2 pretty quarterback deep drafts. You exhaust every avenue with those picks, 13 overall and 21 overall, to move up and try and find the quarterback. Because when you look at Kansas City, when you look at Buffalo, when you look at Baltimore, all 3 of those teams and their quarterback situations right now, they all got them by trading up. Baltimore, it was into the first round.
And here's the thing.
Buffalo, Kansas City was even higher. And that's where I said to this person, until you do that, you're going to pray that a Band-Aid works. And Band-Aids don't work in the NFL at that position.
And there's a reason, like with Carson Wentz. Seemingly everyone knew, and I get it. I mean, look, I was on board with Carson Wentz for like 8 weeks. I was like, hey, I liked his skill set. I liked what he's doing. I thought if he's healthy, he looks like he's reverting back to himself. But here's the thing. There's a reason why a franchise that selected him second overall and rode him to the brink of a Super Bowl was able to part with him and willing to part with him and give an opportunity to a second-round pick that was still a young guy. Jake, so there were red flags there, right?
Willing to part with him before he led the league in turnovers. They drafted Jalen Hurts before Wentz had that 2020 season.
Is Carson Wentz in Washington in 2 years?
Man, that's a great question. God, if you're a Commanders fan, you would hope. Well, I don't know. Would you hope? What's he got? 3 years left on the deal? Washington's putting, to steal a phrase from Frank Reich, Washington is putting their neck out there as well.
He has 2 left, doesn't he? Did they take?
It was 3. I thought it was a 4-year contract.
It was a 4-year,
but
I thought the Colts picked him up in the second year of it. Did they not?
I thought it was a 4.
Either way,
the contract runs through 2024.
Okay, so that's
3 more. Yeah, 22, 23, 24.
Okay, yeah, yep.
Should we do numbers next segment, Jake? We got a couple Colts questions. I'm trying to.
Yeah, and I really want to get to Matthew because Matthew is all the way out in Maine and has been waiting patiently.
Well, we got to give Matthew Vermont, right? Have we given away Vermont?
Oh, have we given him Vermont? Have we given out Vermont?
I kind of like Vermont. Jake, tomorrow we need to give some upset picks, by the way.
Okay. I'm telling you, Richmond and Davidson.
Anybody here Colts, Mark? Fred? You said Fred, maybe?
Stefan and Fred, yeah.
Stefan! What a great name.
Hey, how you doing? So, basically, you got to look at it like this, man. Chris Ballard actually is adapting to the changes and things that are going on. Because if you actually look at the plan that he actually put in place, we actually would have had the gap year with Jacoby and would have possibly came. Look at the franchise if we would have been able to draft Mac Jones or we would have been able to draft Justin Fields. All Frank had to do was just ride the process out and let him draft a young quarterback that he was already plotting to do. We all knew Jacoby Brissett was not going to be the quarterback of the future, but Jacoby Brissett was the gap year to get us to where we need to get to right now. Frank accelerated that process by being a brat about the situation, saying he wanted the quarterback that he wanted. Unfortunately, you can't do the way you want to do things like that. You can't do that with the salary cap and the age of the quarterback. It doesn't work like that. That's the reason why we keep bumping our heads against the wall. Now this is the point where basically Frank is you cried, you messed up, you couldn't get it done. Now Chris has got to revamp and re-roll everything back together and see if he can salvage out the time for Darius, Quentin, and JT. The problem is basically trust the process and allow them to let him do his job. You can't always have a coach that literally wants to be a crybaby. It's not Chris is the problem. It's Frank that's the problem.
But who has the ultimate say of those two?
The ultimate say, at the end of the day, let's be real about the situation. Chris Ballard's contract is designed to literally, he is the say. Jim, yes, he can intervene if.
Well, that's what I mean. So if Frank Reich,
but Jim didn't intervene.
But if there is a disparity of strategy between Frank Reich and Chris Ballard, hypothetically speaking, Chris Ballard should have the ultimate say there, Stefan.
Right, but Chris Ballard was being a team player and allowing his team to grow together as opposed to apart. That's the same thing we got mad about Ryan Grigson. Rickson was hard and did not care. He did what he wanted. But this is a different evolution of allowing someone to basically be a team player and let everyone have their.
But how's that worked out for them?
Basically trample.
But how's it worked out for him?
It's worked out horribly because Frank's been a brat about it. You can't go in the office and cry every single moment. Single time
Understood. And I get what you're saying, and I get what you're saying, Stefan, and I think it's a salient point. I'm just saying, if Chris Ballard is the general manager, then at some point he has to be like, listen, if in fact, and I don't necessarily agree that Frank Reich is a crybaby, but if there's a disparity there, Ballard has to be the one to say, Kevin, look, buck stops with me. Here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's the point we're at now.
Okay.
Stefan, I think he makes an interesting point.
He does.
Jake, and it certainly made me pause and think there for a couple minutes. Let's not act like Chris Ballard was standing on a table and saying we need to trade up for Justin Fields and Mac Jones. I mean, Chris Ballard agreed with Frank's thought process on, like I just said, Chris Ballard was not a fan of Stafford, so they moved on to Wentz. He agreed with the Wentz situation, and Ballard, since he brought up Jacoby in that gap year, since Andrew Luck called it quits, Ballard has refused to take the big swing in the draft at quarterback. And until you do that, this is where you're at. 16 teams in the AFC last year. 13 of them drafted quarterbacks. 13 of the 16. Colts, Tennessee, Denver. We saw what Denver just did making that trade. So I don't want to act like Ballard was saying, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Frank, blah, blah, blah. And to continue Stefan's point, Frank was crying and saying, no, it has to be Carson Wentz. I don't think it was a house divided with the GM and the head coach there. All right, we come back. We'll continue this conversation. We'll also give away some numbers, NCAA tournament numbers. Time to give away, about a dozen more today?
Sure.
I love it. Let's do that when we come back here. Kevin and Query, 8 o'clock hour coming up on a beautiful, which should be a beautiful, at least a nice Tuesday morning.
School is in session.
The Colts have traded Carson Wentz, the bane of all of your existence. Washington is taking on Carson Wentz's full contract, over $28 million in cap space. And you and I both know around these parts, you know what we love around here? We love us some cap space, baby. Man, imagine what the outcry would have been if this had been done under Grigson. Wow.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Tired of being tracked online? DuckDuckGo can help. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
CarX Tire and Autos March specials include lifetime brake pads installed just $109.99 per axle and free battery and cabin filter check at CarX. For the location nearest you, it's CarX.com today.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa is the only hot tub manufacturer on the market today that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Stop into any of our 3 Indianapolis locations today or visit us online at royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Join Planet Fitness now through March 16th and get the PF Black Card for zero enrollment and $22.99 a month. You'll enjoy an upgraded experience with tons of perks.
Like access to more than 2,000 locations worldwide?
Yep.
Super soothing hydro massage chairs?
Yes.
Can I bring a friend every time?
Sure.
Can my friend be a horse?
Nay. Sorry. Get the PF Black Card and feel fit-tacular. Zero enrollment, $22.99 a month. Deal ends March 16th. See Club for details.
Take a shot on college hoops this March with a risk-free bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. All customers get a risk-free bet on the bracket. Just sign in the FanDuel Sportsbook app to claim yours today. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code MARK to get in on the action. Then you can bet on that underdog you've had your eye on or go with the favorite. Either way, it's risk-free. So we've got Purdue, that's a double-digit favorite against Yale. IU gets on the court tonight. Notre Dame tomorrow. They both have play-in matchups, so you can go any way you want. I personally like Purdue to go a little bit deep in this tournament. We'll get more into that later this week. And with Cash Out, the ball's on your court, so you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. There's no better place to bet the tournament on FanDuel Sportsbook. Join now with promo code MARC, M-A-R-C. The FanDuel app is safe, secure, and easy to use. I love betting it, especially tournament time. There's going to be plenty of offers, odds boosts going on, so be sure you check it out. And if you already have an account, sign on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and claim your risk-free bet today. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $5. Offer is non-transferable. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get up to a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With the power, performance, and reliability your vehicle demands, Superstart batteries are designed for lasting performance and consistent starts. Turn the key with confidence. Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sometimes a change of seasons calls for a change of scenery. Well, in St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, you can trade in the heat of a blasting furnace for the healing warmth of the sun. You can trade in gray skies for a beautiful calming blue. You can trade in shoveling sidewalks for biking the Beach Walk Promenade. And you can trade in white snow for 35 miles of pristine white sand. Sounds like you found a winter getaway to immerse all your senses. Start planning your beach escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Even though it's cold outside, now is the time to plan your backyard project. Mark Rowland with Indy Decorative Concrete here. Learn the advantages of our stamped concrete patios. Endless design options, low maintenance, structurally superior, typically lower cost than wood decks or pavers, all backed by the best service and best warranty in town. Visit our showroom on Brookville Road or check us out at indydecorativeconcrete.com.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Pacers return to the field house to face the Memphis Grizzlies this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Big news this morning as we kick off the 8 o'clock hour, just in case those of you are wondering, and I'm sure I'm the only one that notices this kind of thing or even cares, but the Soldiers and Sailors Monument fountains, I noticed they have begun putting the water back in.
Oh, good.
The sign that we've broken through.
I was going to say, I love to jump in there often. When the weather gets warmer. And by the way, I believe our cameras are out on the YouTube, so good. Apologies there.
We got no power either.
Is it? You think it's the
What'd
entire
you guys
power
do
on this
there?
side? Because my chargers aren't working either.
No, my charger's not working either. I don't know.
Is there something they've told us? Or haven't told us, maybe?
Key cards are next, boys.
I don't know. I can't check my email.
Boy.
Rob Blackman going to join us, the voice of the Boilers, coming up at 9 o'clock. Then Reece Monaco, who is the voice of the Wyoming Cowboys, to preview Indiana and Wyoming, that game tonight in Dayton. We'll do that conversation at 9:45. But continuing the Colts conversation at 239-1070, and Andrew joins us this morning. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
Hey, good, Jake. First, are you giving out numbers yet?
We are. You know what? I will. Here's Andrew. You're going to be our guinea pig. Would you rather be a guinea pig or a hamster? Which do you find yourself more to be? Do you know the difference between a guinea pig and a hamster?
We can just go with the guinea pig.
Okay. I will do this first, and then we'll get to your Colts comment. Okay. Just so people know, we have 3 ways you can win. You can get the team that is the national champion. You can get the double-digit seed to advance the furthest with tiebreakers in case they are needed. Or you can get the team to get blown out by the largest margin in the tournament itself. You give me a number 1 through 64. We have randomly assigned teams for every single number. So, all that to be said, Andrew, what? And by the way, we have no idea what the prizes are.
Likely, your NFL lunchbox, right?
No. Nobody's getting my NFL lunchbox.
Oh, is that sacred?
Okay. Are you kidding me?
All right.
I've held on to it for 40 years.
Is that
Kevin.
going underground with you one day?
It is. That and cow. Okay, Andrew, what number would you like?
We're going to go 23 in honor of Trace Jackson.
23 is actually taken. Give me another one here.
11.
Number 11.
Boy.
Ooh, boy.
Sorry
you
about
are
that
a
one, Andrew.
serious candidate, Andrew, for largest margin of loss. You have Jacksonville State.
They didn't even win their conference tournament.
21-10 Jacksonville State.
This is the team that got in because of a technicality.
That's right. What's your Colts comment, Andrew?
I totally disagree with the last guy. I don't know whether Frank Reich's a crybaby or not, but to me, it all lies on Chris Ballard. He seems just like a cheapskate and doesn't want to pay any money, even though Jim's willing to spend it. He thinks he can set the market for people, but it's never going to work out. You got to pay what people are going to pay. You're going to have to spend some money, take some risks, and he hasn't done that at all.
Andrew, I appreciate you asking the question. I thought after the Jacksonville State pick, he might just hang up. Just say, yeah, good enough. I think oftentimes we do this, Jake. Like, I believe part of Ryan Grigson and that era having a downfall was a coaching staff that lacked development. But I'm also thinking to myself, didn't Ryan Grigson hire that head coach and that coaching staff? Didn't Chris Ballard hire Frank Reich and this coaching staff? Like you said, Jake, when you talk about the hierarchy of the Colts organization, Irsay, Ballard, Reich. It's pretty clear. Like, Ballard made this hire after, obviously, everything happened with Josh McDaniels. So, yes, I would agree with what Andrew's saying there of Ballard is responsible for Reich. And, again, it's not like Ballard was at the other side of the room screaming for them to do something else.
But to be fair, Kevin, if we are going to talk about all of the cap space they have that cap space because of the craftiness of Chris Ballard, right? So if you're going to say, hey, Chris Ballard has all of this cap space and he's not doing anything with it, and that makes me angry because cap space is such a luxury and he has it. He's the one that built that luxury. So don't we have to wait to kind of see what he does with it before we totally assess and evaluate him for that?
Well, I think Andrew's pointing to prior off seasons. And so,
no, I get it. The precedent would indicate that it's like me with my Speedy Reward points.
Right.
You know
and again, we are a day into things. Like I said earlier, about 28 of the 100.
Have you been to Guam?
Free agents.
Are you familiar with Guam?
Like out in the Pacific?
Yep.
No, I've not been there.
I acquire it Thursday with my Speedy Reward points, just so you know. If you want to go, you let me know. 239-1070 is the telephone number. Matthew is my favorite caller so far to have called this program because, and I want to make sure that I'm clear.
Matthew from Maine?
I think this is right. Matthew from Maine.
Gosh,
now, Matthew, you live in the state of Maine, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my question is this. How did you become, and we know you from social media, from Twitter, and I appreciate that you listen to this program.
Incredible care package.
But what is it about are you from Indiana or Indianapolis?
No.
What's your connection to Indianapolis?
When I was a little kid, I was a huge Adam Vinatieri fan when he was with the Patriots. And when he left the Patriots and went to the Colts, I had followed him to the Colts. And then several years later, when I had got on social media and I was able to connect with a bunch of fans from Indiana and other states as part of Colts Nation, there is a guy in Evansville that is one of my best friends.
Gotcha. Okay, so you adopted Purdue also, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well and how are things in Maine this morning? Is it cold?
No, it's 32.
The care package you sent us from Maine was fabulous,
wonderful.
Including the soap was the best thing ever.
I was a big fan of the jam.
Yeah, it was your jam, wasn't it?
Is there rooting interest for Vermont out in Maine, Matthew? I kind of like Vermont in this opening round matchup against Arkansas.
Yeah, in the bracket challenge, I've actually picked Vermont to be the ultimate upset and go to the Elite Eight.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea if it happens, but every year I pick the winner of the America East to do that, which they've never been able to do it.
I mean,
yet,
Jake,
but...
Team 58 has got to
All
go
right.
to Matthew,
Matthew,
right?
do you want Vermont?
Sure.
All right.
There is a
Matthew.
prize for the biggest double-digit seed. Remember that makes it the furthest. And indeed, if Vermont is a 13 seed, makes the Elite Eight. Jake, I'm going to have a feeling and say Matthew's going to win.
I love it. Matthew, give our best to everybody out in Maine. All right.
All right, we'll do.
All right. Vermont is off the board to Matthew. See how we do it?
Let's go with Fred. Fred, give us your favorite number.
Well, let's go 64.
Fred, you got a great voice. Have you done radio work at all?
No, but I was offered an internship at one, but I'm too old to not get paid.
Well, Fred, here's what's funny. Do you remember?
I don't blame you, Fred.
Do you remember a group of players called the Flintstones about 20 years ago for a particular college basketball program? Since your name is Fred, do you remember the Flintstones by chance?
Michigan State.
Michigan State is off the board to Fred. Number 64 was Michigan State. 239-1070. Let's go to the next one. Who do we got here, Mark?
Corey.
What's up, Corey?
What's going on, guys?
Not a lot. How are you?
Pretty good. I'll take 29.
I like it. Corey got right to it. Number 29, Eric Dickerson. That's actually off the board. I've got 20, basically 24, 5, 6, 7, and 8, or you can give me another number.
27.
27. Are you a baseball fan, Corey?
Negative.
Okay. Do you like spring? Do you like seeing birds out in the backyard in the springtime?
He says you're telling me you're going to give me Creighton.
Yeah, boy. Sorry
That
about
is
that, Corey.
correct. Wow. It is
Blue
correct.
Jays.
The Blue Jays of Creighton. You know, Blue Jays are very aggressive. Did you know that, Kevin? They're mean.
I did not. I'm still
Yeah,
trying
they're-
to dodge bears.
Blue
going in
Jays show up at the
zigzag
bird feeder, and everybody else gets out of the way.
that you told me last week. Michael, your favorite number, Michael? What's your favorite number? Hello? Michael,
Michael.
are you alive? You got a favorite number?
Put your damn act together.
Say it again.
Let's go with 5.
5?
Oh, boy, Michael.
Michael, you get... Listen, Michael.
You get the prize of all, Michael.
Michael, you get the winner tonight of Wyoming and Indiana. Wyoming, you got both of them, baby. Buy one, get one free in the play-in game. Michael gets the Hoosiers
Michael's trapped
and the
in
Cowboys.
the Dayton Arena right now.
He sounded like he was in Wyoming, didn't he?
Screaming and yelling. Let's do one more. Austin.
How you doing?
Favorite number?
How you doing?
Good,
My
you?
favorite number is 15. I'm good. My favorite number is 15.
Austin, let me tell you something. How old a fella are you, Austin?
26 years old.
Okay, it would only be fitting if you had gotten Texas, but you didn't. But just so you know, the last time that I cried after an NCAA tournament game, I was way too old to be doing so. I was a freshman at North Central. Indiana was the reigning national champion. They were coming off a 116-89 victory over Iowa, and I was fully convinced that Jay Edwards and Lyndon Jones, as freshmen, were going to lead them back to the promised land, and then they got upset in the first round by the Spiders of Richmond, who you got. 23-12. Richmond is off the board, and Austin has Richmond.
We'll give away some more numbers as the show moves along. Again, our number challenge, our bracket challenge is also available via our Twitter page. Mark, will you retweet the link for that?
Will do.
Appreciate that. And again, apologies to our YouTube cameras down, although I don't think too many people care about it.
Another wide receiver the Colts could have been targeting off the board as well. Did you see that cross the line?
I did see that. This is a guy that I kind of liked.
DJ Chark. 1-year deal with the Lions, $12 million. Kind of surprised it's a 1-year deal.
He had a pretty serious ankle injury, if I'm not mistaken, this past year. You wonder if that played into it. Obviously, Jacksonville made a lot of moves, other wideouts yesterday, so they could not bring him back there. So things starting to dry up a little bit. At wideout, some other guys that are available still, Odell Beckham, Will Fuller. Did T.Y. Hilton say he wanted to come back yesterday?
Would you take T.Y. Hilton back? T.Y. Hilton has indicated that, right? Didn't Chris Ballard basically say that T.Y. Hilton has indicated he wants to come back?
Available. Yeah, I mean, like, come back and play football. I guess yesterday he mentioned come back and play for the Colts.
Right,
just
right.
to clarify. Again, Jake, I am in the minority of thinking Hilton still has a little bit left, but let me make this very clear. You operate at wideout this offseason like T.Y. Hilton and Paris Campbell aren't on your team.
You know, the
luxury items at this point. Got to go find somebody else.
Yesterday, I thought it was interesting that I got an invite And thank you to the Colts for it, for a luncheon for today with all the new coordinators. And I'm like, wait a minute, have they announced? And they did, obviously, end up doing so, but Reggie Wayne officially in the mix. We knew that was going to happen. Frank Reich basically said it on this show, right? When you asked him about Reggie Wayne and what would make him a good, or why he hired him. Well, here's what I like, da-da-da. But
are they paying him more because he's number 2 on the depth chart as well right now?
He probably could be, right?
Garoppolo, Jake. Again, Ian Rappaport saying that the Colts are the favorite to acquire him. By all accounts, if you look at San Francisco's financials, they would need to do this by tomorrow at 4 o'clock, considering their cap situation. So we could get an answer on Jimmy Garoppolo and the Colts here very soon. Would you be good with that?
I do like Garoppolo. Here's the thing, the pros and cons, okay? Garoppolo, because he's coming off shoulder surgery, gives you pause because the Colts know all too well what happens when you're waiting on those pesky shoulders to get healthy in the offseason. We've been down that road. I've seen that movie. But the two things about Garoppolo that I like, I do think that if good pieces are around him, and the Colts would certainly have to upgrade their receiving core. But I think that he can keep his hands on the wheel and run it off. I'm not saying he's a system quarterback, that kind of thing, but I think he's a reliable and a safe player. He seemingly is a good guy that his teammates like, that people want to play for and with. The women of Indianapolis would certainly be thrilled. He's not a bad-looking guy.
Shout out to Maddie.
But I do think that his skill set is probably lateral movement to Carson Wentz with a slight tick towards upgrade, because I don't know that he brings just and I know it's difficult, Kevin, to pinpoint what it is about Carson Wentz, but clearly with him there was something that just exuded, and arrogance is maybe the wrong word, but that guys didn't totally embrace. And I think that Garoppolo is one that it appears as though his teammates do embrace him.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement. I also think this, Jake, there's probably not a single quarterback out there realistically in 2022 that's going to make me change my thought process on this. But I think Garoppolo gets you to the same end result. I don't think you're playing deep into January.
Yeah, that's fair.
With him at quarterback.
I don't think you're playing deep into January with their philosophy. I think their philosophy is run the damn ball.
The Colts, yeah. I would agree. And Garoppolo's numbers, like I looked him up yesterday a little bit closer. The two stats I always look to with quarterback, completion percentage and yards per attempt. And these are a couple big Colts numbers as well. In the regular season, Garoppolo, 67% passer. In the playoffs, 60%. Yards per attempt in the regular season, 8.4 yards per attempt. In the playoffs, 7.3. That is a big, big dip you get in the postseason. Now, a couple other numbers that I think other fans like to look at as well. Touchdown to interceptions, 71 TDs to 38 picks in the regular season, 4 TDs to 6 picks in the playoffs. His quarterback rating drops 24 points in the postseason from the regular season. You expect some dip just because the level of competition rises, but those are some big dips when you get into the postseason. And I get it. People are like, hey, man, he's made it to an NFC title game and got to a Super Bowl. Like, Jake, Green Bay is one properly blocked punt. Protecting their punter away from the 49ers losing this year. Let's not act like Garoppolo threw for 303 touchdowns.
Like I said, you've got to have a lot around him, right? By the way, did you ever dip?
I was not a big dipper.
Mark,
no,
you ever
not
dip?
At all.
No. Dipped out of class a few times.
Oh, look at that, Mark. Okay. That's one of your better dad jokes.
Thank you.
Were you?
Oh, like everybody, like in high school, it was like, man, you got to try a dip. And it was like,
Did you have your water bottle handy so you could spit in it?
No, I think
big baseball thing to
instantly.
Do, right?
It was like, what? Yeah, I think it was during baseball season actually. You know what I mean? And then it was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I think I'm gonna hurl. I didn't puke, but
Jake is dizzy on second base.
I saw a few people that did, and it was like, yeah, I'm good.
What? Why'd you? Were you making a dip analogy here?
Yeah, you were just talking about. You said the numbers dip, and I'm like, I wonder if you ever dipped. On road trips, actually, occasionally some pouches, but then I'm like, you know what? Nah, it's just there's nothing, especially now. can't now.
One of my buddies asked for some dip a few years ago on the way back from a bachelor party, and I went in there and bought him some long cut. And let's just say the look on his face.
Was there anything more disgusting in college than like people that would leave the little cups laying around? You're like, oh my goodness, just horrific.
Pat, you want Jim Irsay to spend, Pat?
Yeah, people keep saying that Ballard won't spend and that Irsay has the money available and wants him to, but why don't he make him if that's the case?
You know, it's a great question, Pat. Jake, we've talked about the Irsay conversation at the end of the year, and what did he demand change-wise? Obviously, he demanded Carson Wentz. And I think Chris Ballard agreed with that largely. I do. I think Frank Reich wanted Carson back. What else did Irsay demand? The other thing that I thought of was right now, right here, right now, this week. You've got to attack this week with more vigor. So far, 24 hours into it, that has not been the case.
Now,
That was something, and both guys have been on record, Jake. Irsay said it and Ballard said it. Irsay's been like, I've told him he's got my money to spend if he wants to. And Ballard said, he's told me I can spend his money. So
but here's the way I look at it, Kevin. Is it possible this is the scenario on the line of thought for Chris Ballard? New iPhone comes out. Every time the new iPhone comes out, you watch the local news and they're interviewing 100 people that are like camped outside some store because they got to be the first one to get the new iPhone 18. Store. Does he really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got some questions for him about why I can't share a playlist.
Okay. Well, yeah. Just let me know, and I'll
do I have to
call him right now.
I'll let you know when he works, and you can go in and say hi to him.
Do you have to make an appointment to talk to your dad?
He'll do the file cabinet analogy with you. Jake is a file cabinet. You open them up, and you just never know what you're going to pull out.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
It is a compliment.
But with the iPhone, when it comes out, the new one comes out, and all these people line up, and they can't wait to get it. And then the rest of society goes, yeah, I'll wait like 3 months until instead of $1,200, it's $800. Is Chris Ballard playing free agency like the iPhone? Look, I'm not going to go out on day one and spend all my money. I'll wait until instead of going out and overspending for a linebacker, I'll get 3 of them for the same price.
This is probably really relevant right now, Jake. Chris Ballard's the one that drives 30 miles out of the way to find the 3-cent cheaper gas.
Yeah, I know people like that.
And yet, and I don't know, I guess you can make the argument, is all gas the same? The result he's getting is 3-cent worse gas. I mean, that's what he's gotten. I mean, you've been an average football team in the AFC.
Right.
Like, at some point, you just got to accept it and be like, all right, free agency is about, you don't set the prices in free agency. It's just not how the NFL works. Free agency sets the prices for you. You got to be willing to accept that, trust your cap guy, girl, whatever, to maneuver around it and put you in a good situation. And go from there. All right, we'll continue to give away some tournament numbers. Rob Blackman at the top of the hour to talk about Purdue and their draw as a 3 seed heading to Milwaukee. And then Reece Monaco. What a great name for the voice of the Cowboys. Reece Monaco, Wyoming play-by-play voice, is going to join us to close out the show today. Let's hit a Big O Tires SportsCenter update.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Would you rather get a lifetime supply of Reese's or a trip to Monaco?
Oh, certainly Reese's.
Really? Mark?
I'd go to Monaco.
I am obsessed with Reese's.
Are you really?
Yeah. What season are we in now? Eggs, right?
Yeah, I mean, they do
it's
solid.
Salivating thinking about it.
Have you had the ones with the...
I might do CVS at 16th and Meridian on one side and then the Walgreens on the other on the way home just to get...
Have you had the Reese's with potato chips in them?
No, I got to draw the line.
Yeah, that sounds pretty horrific, does it not?
How long have those potato chips been in there?
Right.
I don't know when they make them.
I'd rather have some long cut, Jake.
There you go. What about Reese's with long cut in it?
Stop.
Skull inside the Reese's. Tonight, inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, it will be the Pacers, the Memphis Grizzlies. 7 o'clock tip for Indiana.
You still going to be there with the John Morant thing?
I am going to be there. John Morant, though, he'll be there, but not playing, right?
Doubtful with a back soreness is the label there. He played on Sunday.
Am I. I'm still going.
You watch John Morant play basketball, I think he contorts his body a little bit different than Jake Query does. In all seriousness, Jake, you got to think there's hundreds of fans that would go to see Morant and now might no longer be in the building. 7.5-point underdog, the Pacers' lone game this week as they return home. They haven't been at home in a while with all the Big Ten and now NCAA tournament stuff at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The big one tonight, though, is at 9:10. That is an estimated tip from Dayton. It'll be the Hoosiers against the Cowboys. Indiana favored by 4 over Wyoming. Trace Jackson Davis yesterday after Indiana's open practice on finally achieving that team goal of making the tournament.
So back when I was a little kid, I always just dreamed of playing in the championship game and hitting free throws and for the win. I won't say what team it was because I'll tell you it wasn't Indiana, but so it's always been a dream playing in the tournament. And finally getting that opportunity, I think, is really cool. But after we got selected, I was really relieved because I was really anxious leading up to it, especially going through it. Not seeing our name until the final bracket was a little nerve-wracking. But finally just having that pressure off your shoulders and you're finally playing for something, playing for a national title, I think is really cool.
What team would you guess it would have been?
I was trying to think that. Where did Dale play?
Clemson. I would think if you got to figure if Trace Jackson Davis was born, in probably 2001, right? 2001?
Yeah.
So when he was a little kid, Duke. Although if his dad played at Clemson, maybe there's a bias against Duke and Carolina.
08, 09 is probably like some early formative years for him. I don't know. Butler was about ready to get on some runs at that point, as crazy as it sounds. So, anybody on Indiana's roster experience NCAA tournament, or will this be the first for? I'm trying to think of some of those transfers. I don't think any.
Miller Kopp?
Did Northwestern make it?
They made it 2 or 3. Remember when the Northwestern crying kid?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How long ago was that? Was Miller Kopp on that team?
Trying to think.
I just remember Julia Louise-Dreyfus was in the crowd, and they showed her plenty.
Yeah, I was going to say, they barely even recognized her, barely showed her in those games. And for Wyoming, I don't think they've experienced it a whole lot. So we'll be different tonight. You would expect a lot.
Wyoming won the title back in 43. Don't sell them short, Kevin.
It'll be a lot of cream and crimson inside of UD Arena. You ever been there? I watched Notre Dame get drilled by Iowa State there in the tournament a decade ago.
Covered. Actually, speaking of Notre Dame, I'm fairly certain that I don't even know who I was working for at the time. It would have been, I guess, Channel 6. An NCAA women's tournament game there with Notre Dame and UConn, I think. Because I remember interviewing...
That's a big one.
Gino Auriemma in that arena. Skylar Diggins, I think, was with Notre Dame, maybe.
Gino intimidates me.
Yeah, he is kind of an intimidating dude.
Yeah, it feels like you're in kind of a theater, right? When you're in that arena, do you
I would
get that
agree.
feel?
Yeah, that's fair. It's definitely an older feeling. It's an older arena for sure.
Now, remember, Tom Crean's number 1 seed, that's where the first 2 rounds were. They beat Temple. Great game.
Really?
Yeah.
When they were the number 1 overall seed in the tournament?
And lost to Syracuse in Sweet 16. They had the first 2 rounds at Dayton. For Purdue, it'll be a 15-point spread against Yale. Yale 19-9, 11-3 in the Ivy League. Again, not a lot of height for Yale. Just curious what Purdue fans think about that draw. I don't know, a lot of Chris Beard PTSD. But again, I don't know if Texas is a lock to beat Virginia Tech in round 1. We'll talk more about that with Rob Blackman coming up at the top of the hour. For those curious about what's happening over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, NCAA tournament-wise, it'll be Michigan and Colorado State, 12:15 on Thursday. That's the first game of, round 1. That'll be on CBS. Longwood in Tennessee at 2:45. The nightcap, St. Peter's in Kentucky. Gone an hour and a half. No St. Peter's joke from Jake, so he must have not gotten great sleep.
Peacocks, baby.
Last night. 9:40.
I'd never heard of St. Peter's.
San Francisco and Murray State.
I had never heard of St. Peter's until this year. Had you? Honestly.
I think, I don't know. That's a good question.
I looked it up. It's a Jesuit university, and I think New Jersey. It's been around since like 1870.
What conference? Is that like the MAC with 2 A's?
Yes.
Conference? That peacock just gets shot?
I'm telling you, that's the noise. They kind of look like the Roadrunner when they walk around like that.
Jake, if we get a second-round matchup of Kentucky and Murray State, that is what I think the NCAA tournament is largely about. You get this mid-major school. There's no way Kentucky would schedule Murray State nowadays.
They got to serve Ale 8 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse if that happens. The official soft drink of the state of Kentucky.
That is, and I would just put bourbon on tap, right?
That's right.
That's probably exactly what they need to go with. But I'm really looking forward to that potential matchup on Saturday. You see Ball State fired their coach yesterday?
I did. James Whitford, I liked him as a guy. I realized it didn't work out necessarily as a coach. He was entering, his 10th year.
I couldn't believe he had been there that long.
Just under 500. Nice guy. And I think actually, you know what? Listen, and I'm sure people will tell me I'm wrong. This is very from the outside. But, yeah, didn't win the number of games that they probably wanted to, but I think handled himself and represented the university well during his tenure there.
Seemed to recruit the state fairly well. I mean, at least got, some guys, some Indiana All-Stars, etc. 9 seasons there, 1 postseason appearance in the last 5, though, no NCAA tournaments. So the Ball State opening is official there. All right, we come back here on Kevin and Query. We'll give away some numbers again. If you haven't, 317-239-1070. We were about 20, about a third of the way through the field so far.
That's about right, yep.
So give us a call. The winner, the double-digit seed that makes it the furthest, and the biggest blowout. Also, the bracket challenge. You can find out that link to our ESPN Kevin and Query bracket challenge pool. That is available on our Twitter page as well. We'll continue the Colts conversation. We come back 8:30 coming up. Kevin and Query, 93.5-107.5 The Fan.
Join Planet Fitness now through March 16th and get the PF Black Card for 0 enrollment and $22.99 a month. You'll enjoy an upgraded experience with tons of perks.
Like access to more than 2,000 locations worldwide?
Yep.
Super soothing hydro massage chairs?
Yes.
Can I bring a friend every time?
Sure.
Can my friend be a horse?
Nay. Sorry. Get the PF Black Card and feel fit-tacular. 0 enrollment, $22.99 a month. Deal ends March 16th. See Club for details.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 38,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about football than engagement rings. When free agency starts, your team wants to get the best players they can without spending too much. If your team is you and the players are engagement rings, then your best bet in free agency is shopping at Hellsberg Diamonds, where you know you'll get the highest quality diamonds at prices that keep you from going over the salary cap. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our price match guarantee or check us out at hellsberg.com.
Start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, and so much more. My money's on IU tonight to take down Wyoming. I know they're 4-point favorites at the moment. That's where my money's headed. You can choose wherever you'd like. Plus, with Cash Out, the ball's in your court. You can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. Offers like this are one of the many reasons I love betting the tournament on FanDuel. The app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And when you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours. So join FanDuel today with promo code MARK. Then place your first bet of $5 or more to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. That's promo code MARK on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV, WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in just 3 easy steps. 1. Get your free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with your check in as little as 30 minutes. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.
The Ride with JMV.
It's not just about the possibility of Amari Cooper as a free agent. This is about the Colts in free agency. Stink and take a swing. You have money, spend it. I mean, sitting around and stinking waiting. Are you not tired of it? I just don't want to sit around and have to hear about, we're drafting and we see the future. I mean, by the time you get to the future with these guys, Jonathan Taylor's going to be in the past.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Jake, I was thinking about this driving in. This starts a string of appointment television late into the night coming up.
Oh, man, you're not kidding.
So IU, Wyoming, 9:10 at the earliest tonight, so we know when that'll get over. Notre Dame Rutgers, I don't know if anybody's going to stay up, but I will be certainly up for Notre Dame Rutgers. Do people watch the play-in? Like, if they don't have any?
You know what? Interesting question.
I mean, no one picks it for their bracket pool, right?
It is weird, isn't it? Because it's just like, you're like, wait a minute. I mean, what if you... Okay. Wyoming, Indiana in your bracket pool, it just says like Wyoming/Indiana.
Yeah, you get both teams.
Shouldn't you just pick both? Shouldn't you just keep riding that because you got a double chance?
Well, I mean, after tonight you only have one, and then are you saying ride them to beat St. Mary's?
Yeah. You got. So
you think the winner of tonight advances, and that would be UCLA then on Thursday?
Well, here's the thing. This is the hard part. Whoever wins tonight has to turn around like Wyoming. Now, I drove from Laramie, Wyoming to here. It's a haul, right?
I can see why you got back into dipping.
I don't know if you know this or not, but dip is actually one of the food groups in Wyoming.
High up on that pyramid, right?
But you got to go from Laramie to Dayton. If they win, they got to turn around and fly to Portland.
So do you fly after the game, or do you?
I would think they'd. I don't know. I mean, when is that game against St. Mary's?
7:20 on Thursday, Eastern time. I think 7:10, maybe something like that.
Dude, I mean, you got to turn.
And Notre Dame Rutgers the same boat. They go to San Diego and they play at 4:10. They play a little earlier, 4:10 on Friday.
That's crazy. Now, the NCAA tournament, in terms of tonight, I think I mentioned this to you before, Kevin. When I was a kid, I had a seizure when I was in the 6th grade. I had an epileptic seizure. I had juvenile epilepsy. And so they would have to, it was for 2 years when I was in middle school, I would have to do what was called a sleep-induced EKG, where I would sleep and they would put all these I look like Frankenstein. And I would have to stay up all night the night before so that I was in a deep REM sleep at 8 in the morning when they would do this. My mom would always schedule it. So before I was of the age where guys are scheduling their vasectomy around the opening round of the NCAA tournament, I was 12. So,
Mark?
And we scheduled that around the tournament. And my mom would tape the day games, but then at night I would watch the games until 11 or 12. And then...
Now, was that when they all tipped at the same time? Now we stagger them a little, right?
It was...
the noon games tipped at the same time?
I think that's right, yeah. And I remember vividly watching Oklahoma and Louisiana Tech. And it went to overtime maybe, or even double overtime. That would have been the start of the 85 tournament. And that was Karl Malone versus Wayman Tisdale. And that was one of the late games. And I thought it was Christmas, man. It was Christmas.
It really is.
And
I think one of the best parts about it, and I know Indiana's fan base and Notre Dame's fan base maybe aren't feeling it as much, but it's the days of hope. If you're Purdue, you're getting this, Friday till 2 o'clock, and you're thinking, here's our chance to go on this magical run. Indiana, Notre Dame, that hope's a little bit shorter. But if you're an Indiana fan and you also are a fan of the Colts and the Pacers, boy, the fact that you've made the tournament, this is Christmas in 2022 from where you've been at from a professional, and I guess Purdue fans would feel similar if they are fans of the Pacers and Colts as well. Should we give away some numbers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Let's start with Jeremy. Jeremy, hello.
Good morning, guys.
Your favorite number?
10.
Number 10, Jeremy. How old a fella are you, Jeremy?
Dude.
I am 32.
Did you ever speak in class? Bet you never heard that. 32 years old, Jeremy. A program that 32 years ago, very, very few people knew about it other than the fact that John Stockton had played there, is now off the board because Jeremy has the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. The Zags, the Bulldogs of
Clear
Gonzaga.
favorite. Jeremy, good work there. Mike, favorite number.
Mike, before we do this, let me give you the available numbers because we're starting to run thin here. The available numbers are the following. Stop me if you hear one that you'd like. 1, 2, 6, 7, 12, 16, 18, 20, 24, 25, 26, 28.
All right, stop.
Okay.
Let's go at 24.
24, thank you. And I'm sorry, what's your first? Mike, you said?
Yep.
How old a fella are you, Mike?
You're going to wish Jake went a little further, Mike.
54.
54. Mike, were you a fan of the 1987 Indiana National Championship team?
No.
Okay. Well, they opened that year. Ricky Callaway tore his knee when they were playing Montana State. Montana State is the 14 seed in the West, and you got them.
Now, Jake, I've got people messaging me and tweeting at me for numbers. Are we sticking with you got to call in?
You got to call in, man.
Okay.
Because I got to make it fair for everybody.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Totally get it. Leonard. What's up, Leonard?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Favorite number?
How about 32?
32's open.
32. Here's the thing, Leonard. In
Coached by a
1993.
former Notre Dame point guard.
What's that?
This team's coached by a former Notre Dame point
Are
guard
they?
right now.
1993, the NCAA Tournament, first round. This team was playing Louisville. I went down into the student section, started leading them in cheers. The president of the university came and made me an honorary Blue Hen. That is a true story. And two of the guys that road tripped all the way out from their school ended up crashing at my parents' house because I'm like, don't get a hotel room. My mom said, oh, you're welcome to stay with us. Delaware, baby. Delaware off the board to Leonard. Spencer Dunkley was a second-round pick of the Pacers that year.
Well, there's your NBA, a Blue Hen NBA coming your way. Right?
Now, who's the point guard?
Martin Inglesby. You remember him? Early Bray era?
Wow.
Martin Inglesby, longtime assistant. You know Mike Bray came from Delaware.
Your brain is a Notre Dame basketball filing cabinet.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. I'm not too happy about that. Pat, what's your number?
Hey, what was the numbers past 28? He kind of stopped.
Okay, here we go.
31, 34, 35, 37 through 43. And we got a lot of numbers in the 40s, 50s.
Okay. Well, let me have 50 then.
Ooh.
50.
Pat,
I'll tell you what,
you're going to
Pat.
like this one, I think.
Pat, you got one of those teams I think is probably coached by the guy right now that might be the best coach going in college basketball. And last year when every team was here for the NCAA tournament, I asked someone at the JW, which team was the most polite? And the woman said, undoubtedly the team that conducted themselves the best, were thankful, cleaned up after themselves after breakfast, and could not have been better young people. Villanova of Jay Wright.
Oh, wow. There you
Villanova goes to Pat.
Congrats on that.
The 2 seed in the South.
Is this TY or Ty, Mark? Ty. Ty, you got favorite number?
I'll go with 34.
Oh, boy. We got some big ones coming off the board.
We
this segment.
do. Ty, here's the thing.
You either hate them or you love them, probably.
You got the team that probably throughout the last 35 years has been the best in this tournament. The 2 seed in the West, the Blue Devils of Duke. Duke goes to Ty. Man, this is a strong run here. Zags, Nova, Duke.
Or Kevin and Query Koozie
Still got
right
some biggies
now.
out there, though.
Shaking. What should we do? 2 more?
Sure. So you like this, don't you, Kevin?
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, honestly.
Told you.
Easy radio. Greg.
Hello? Good morning.
Morning, Greg. Give us a number.
7.
Greg, you sound like a nice fella. What time did you get up this morning?
Oh, about 7:30.
Okay.
Nice. Check out the podcast.
Wowie.
Thought we had a good opening segment. Greg has got a team, Jake, that I don't know if they're going to make it very far.
8 seed in the South. 8 seed in the South. Look, I could see this team being a Cinderella story, right? Seton Hall. The Pirates of Seton Hall.
Who's their one there? That's the South region. Is that Kansas?
They're the 8 in the South.
Kansas the one, or is that Arizona?
Arizona's the one.
Okay, let's do one more. Pedro, is this our Washington Continental?
Yes, this is him.
I love it. Pedro, turn your radio down if you don't mind, and give us a number.
Number 8.
8 is taken, Pedro. I've got 1, 2, 6, 12, 16, 18, 20, 25, and then a bunch in the 40s and 50s. 28 is available. 31 is available.
You said is 4 available?
The show's over at 10.
4 is not available.
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
Number 1. Pedro, you got the Longhorns, baby. 21-11. The 6th seed in the East, the Texas Longhorns, goes to Pedro.
Coach has got great recent history, but if you're a Purdue fan, you do not want that happening too long. Mark, you think we should sneak him in?
Do you want to?
Yeah, let's do it. Jake, getting ready for tonight's matchup at 9:10. Back on the phone lines by, I don't know, popular demand. Yeah, I don't know. That was feeding the ego too much. Training Camp Jimmy is with us. Training Camp Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Training Camp Jimmy here. Before the season, I said Trace Jackson Davis was the next Bill Russell. I was wrong. TJD is the next Chris Bosh. But what people don't understand is we have another pro on the roster, Xavier Johnson. He is the next Lance Stevenson, and tonight we are going to pick and roll Wyoming to death. We are going to pick and roll them to death. And I also need to mention Boiler Buffoon. Purdue Nation looks like the Colts against the Jaguars and Raiders. They're tired. They're completely washed up. I'm not sure I would take Sasha as a walk-on at IU. Hey, Sasha, keep shooting the fadeaway threes, brother. They're not going in. Lastly, for tonight, Wyoming, I think we do the old First Baptist rule and we mercy rule them. I expect the Hoosiers to be up 20 at half. We'll be eating gumbo in New Orleans. It's Indiana. Yeah, we do it big.
Settle down just a little bit.
No, hold on. Xavier Johnson is going to be playing professional basketball. Will he be speaking Spanish, Hebrew, Russian, or I'm trying to think of what other languages they might be speaking over in Europe? Xavier Johnson's had a nice run here, but he's not an NBA player.
I have to say, as a wrestling fan, Training Camp Jimmy can cut a hell of a promo.
Yeah,
you get the crowd in a lather.
Do one of those Jumbotron videos with Training Camp Jimmy down there in Bloomington. I think they would take Sasha Stefanovic, and that would greatly help perimeter shooting. I'm going to go out on a limb there and say, who did IU get instead of Sasha? Was it Grant Galon? Was that his name?
Oh, that guy was great. He transferred from IU to State Fair College. Mm-hmm. Do you know how hard it is to hit shots at State Fair College?
It sounds like a circus. It literally sounds like
they have padded rims that are 1/3 the circumference, and you get stuffed animals if you hit your free throws.
Training Camp Jimmy right there getting us set. We're about 12 hours away from tip from Dayton. We're a few days away from Purdue and Yale. That'll be 9 o'clock hour. Rob Blackman is going to join us. We'll get Wyoming side of things tonight. Hopefully Reece Monaco is not listening to that call and thinks that IU fans are that 24/7, 365. We'll get back into the Colts conversation. We come back here. Kevin Aquari on a Tuesday.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, unleashes the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. Planning a trip to Vegas? You can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today to get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's JMV for my friends at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. John and Chris Love are the guys I trust to take care of my home when it comes to heating and cooling. The Love family has been serving Central Indiana for well over 100 years, and right now you can get $95 off your spring service. Get your air conditioner ready for spring and that hot summer and save $95. That's Love Heating and Air Conditioning, 317-754-0754 or love-hvac.com today. Tell them JMV sent you.
A direct diamond importer. What does that even mean? And why should you care? Well, if you're looking for a beautiful diamond at the best value, you will care, and you'll want to come to Shane Company. We travel to the diamond capitals of the world to hand-select the prettiest natural diamonds. Because we eliminate all middlemen and their markups, we have the most beautiful diamonds at the best possible value. Since we pay cash up front and buy thousands of diamonds, the stonecutters give us first pick of their best stones at the best price. For 4 generations, we've been directly importing our diamonds from ethical sources, buying only the most beautiful diamonds in each quality grade and passing those savings on to our customers. At Shane Company, you'll always get the best value on the most beautiful diamond. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
Hey there, it's Jake Query. You know, we're in the studio right now, and Kevin is climbing over stuff along with Dykton trying to get the power back on. Have we got anything worked out here?
I know, like, spring storms, but
So here's the thing. Maybe for my next elective in college, I'll take some sort of an electrical class. That's a possibility because I am taking classes again back in school. Listen, folks, you've heard me talk about it. I left some college credits out there, never finished my degree, got into the workplace. Life just kind of got in the way, and I never went back, and now I'm doing exactly that. And if I can do it, I'm confident that you can as well. You can build a better future for yourself with Next Level Jobs. Next Level Jobs provides Hoosiers, with free training in high-growth, in-demand job fields, advanced manufacturing, health and life sciences, IT and business services, transportation and logistics, among others. And as little as 150 hours, you can be certified in coding, electrical, mechanical maintenance, all kinds of different things. And they have the tuition and the grants that are available there for you. So whether you are looking to simply get certified in an area of a high-tech job or perhaps looking to finish a college degree for those college credits, 700,000 Hoosiers have those credits that are sitting on the shelf. They do not expire. If I can do it and I can take the classes online like I'm doing right now through IU, you folks can do it as well. I would love for you to join me. Do it for yourself, your family, or just to complete that goal. Visit nextleveljobs.org, presented by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
Feeling the pinch of higher prices?
Golden Oak Lending can save you money with their low 2.25% rate.
James Hawkins here, president of Golden Oak. Offset high prices with lower monthly payments or turn your home equity into cash.
Lock in this low rate while you can. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.336% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hey, it's JMV, and guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. So schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. So if you don't live near a Low T Center or you just are busy and you need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy. Get started today. Only your first 2 visits are in person. LowTCenter.com. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Soccer Saturday between Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Jake, you said we're done for numbers on the day?
Yeah, we might as well put them on the shelf till tomorrow, right?
Got about half the field done, so we'll continue to give away some numbers. Don't want people hanging around thinking that there's hope.
It's going to be a marathon tomorrow with how many numbers we're going to give out.
Sounds like being a Colts fan with... Well, we got Thursday, too.
That's true.
Thursday morning. The hope, it sounds like Colts fan with Chris Ballard in free agency. Right now, Mo Alie-Cox back, 3 years, reportedly up to $18 million. Mark Glowinski going to the Giants, so a new starting right guard. I do think Glowinski was a nice Ballard find and really was the most durable of any of the 5 offensive linemen over the last few years. There is an in-house free agent, Jake. I'm a little bit surprised the Colts have not re-signed. Any guesses to who that would be? It's not a list I stand on the table for really anybody, but this is one that I'm kind of like, don't you just bring it back?
But here's the thing. Is it a player that
I don't
other
think
teams
this player would have a
pursue.
huge market. No, I don't. I mean, I should be honest and say I don't really know what.
Because haven't
market
we
would
seen
look
that in the past with Ballard, where he goes and then at the end comes back and says like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and get this player.
Correct,
taken care
certainly.
of.
He's got 23 in-house free agents. Alie-Cox was brought back. Glowinski walks. There's still 21. I mean, there's notable names on the list, but the guy that I think would be wise to bring back before Wednesday, and again, who knows what the market will look like, but how about Michael Badgley?
Interesting.
That'll get butts in seats.
The Badgley family, actually, Mark, is a large contingent. I mean, seriously, though, isn't he your leading kick competition guy with Hot Rod? Hot Rod's still under contract, so Rodrigo Blankenship is still in the building. They actually signed another kicker a couple months ago who's never kicked in the NFL. I mean, don't you just re-sign Badgley and then have a kicking competition?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have that competition, but don't you think that he is one that probably you could sign just before camp? I mean, is somebody else going to come and sign him away in the meantime?
Sure, but I just think a lot of this is just kind of like Ballard's just stringent philosophy of like, I am not breaking my trend for anybody.
Now, Chris Ballard is thrilled to hear you talking about Michael Badgley, because typically Chris Ballard, apparently, if he's listening, he's just happy that you're not talking about receivers.
It definitely made me think, and I mean, Bowen, every time I freaking read or listen to Bowen, it's like a constant freaking barrage of wideouts.
Well,
the maniacal laughter there is really weird to me.
Jake, these are the wideouts so far left. And Mark, I haven't updated this morning, so please correct me if I'm wrong here. Christian Kirk to the Jags.
Oh, that contract
for
nuts.
A large deal. The Jags got somebody else, right?
Zay Jones.
Another wideout, Zay Jones. That was it. And then Cedric Wilson re-signed with the Cowboys. DJ Shark left Jacksonville. He's going with the Lions. So your available wideouts, Jake, any of these names interest you? Odell Beckham, Will Fuller, AJ Green, Russell Gage, T.Y. Hilton, Jarvis Landry, Allen Robinson, Emmanuel Sanders, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Here's the thing, and this is the danger that teams have. Do you remember what a big deal it was to sign Andre Johnson? I mean, people were like, "Oh my goodness, Andre Johnson, Frank Gore, like bring on the parade." And then Andre Johnson got here, and people were like, "Holy cow, this guy fell off a cliff. He's terrible." And at receiver, some of those names, Kevin, are really enticing to me until I look at the numbers. Jarvis Landry, multiple Pro Bowls, great player. And then you look at his, coming off injury.
29, Jarvis Landry.
You look at what he did, and you're like, yeah, serious drop-off, right? I mean,
Juju Smith-Schuster is only 25.
Okay, that's intriguing, right?
Got to monitor the social media, right? Isn't he pretty active with that?
He could play, though.
Yeah, hurt this past year for quite a while. And I guess that's what I get into about the Amari Cooper thing we talked about yesterday, Jake.
If you reached out for Deshaun Watson, then you have no leg to stand on saying that character is the first thing you're going to look at before you talk to free agents. And I love Deshaun Watson, but I'm saying, as a player, I mean, I watched him at Clemson, and I know that there were no charges filed against him. I'm not saying he's guilty of something, but when you have 22 different people alleging a sexual assault against you.
Do you think that was a legit call?
What's that? That the Colts made?
Yeah.
I think they probably at least test the water, right? What I'm saying is talent overrules everything. And I get the fact that Deshaun Watson should be given an opportunity somewhere. I get it. That's fine, except for that you can't sit there and say, like, listen, the first thing we look at is character. Well, I mean, maybe they were just simply trying to gauge his character. But that's a pretty big one to go after first. You know what I mean?
Randy mentions one more wideout name, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. What's he, Green Bay's like number 3, Mark?
Yeah.
I think he's the dude that fumbled here in overtime. Remember the Colts beat the Packers a couple years ago? Julian Blackman made a great play in overtime. I think that's him.
Man, Christian Kirk, his numbers, how much did they pay him, Mark?
$84 million, I think, with incentives.
I think it was, and again, this gets back to something I talked about earlier, Jake. I think the big thing to talk about is the guaranteed money. I believe 37 was guaranteed for Kirk, which is still a big number.
He's the third highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Right, I mean,
but listen, they got to get Trevor Lawrence can flat out play. I'm telling you guys,
and
they got to get him weapons. Though
I know everybody was laughing at Jacksonville yesterday. Jake, I agree with that point right there. Like Trevor Lawrence is at a massive 2-year period in his NFL career.
Correct.
If you don't get him right in these 2 years, we see it with quarterbacks. It's hard to get them right.
Correct.
So it might sound desperate, but again, for your franchise, you got to do everything that you can to get him right.
Peyton Manning became a much better quarterback after his rookie year when he was throwing to eventually Reggie Wayne and a healthy Marvin Harrison than when he was throwing to Torrance Small and Jerome Pathon.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
All right, Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilers. He's going to join us next here. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Dan Dockage lays some knowledge.
This is a 10-year plan, and if you don't think so, then God bless you. Colts have no quarterback right now other than Sam Ehlinger. Left tackle is no good. Cornerback is questionable. Wide receiver group not good enough, and we are going into our 100th edge rusher. You're in year 6. You haven't won nothing. You would rather have cap space than you would wins here in Indianapolis.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. Apply online today at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Stop by your locally owned and operated Big O Tires and save up to $100 instantly on Cooper, Nitto, and Pirelli tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
It's time for the madness of hoops. Real sports bettors use the free Prop Swap app to find the best deals on all your favorite teams. Prop swappers make thousands of dollars simply buying and selling college basketball teams. And here's the best part. You can buy and sell on Prop Swap without even leaving your couch. Right now is the time to choose those Cinderellas while the odds are high. Jump on the Prop Swap app, buy a handful of tickets, and enjoy buckets of cash and the moments of madness. Cinderella stories happen every year, so download the free Prop Swap app today and make sure you're holding great tickets to the big dance. See a ticket you like but think the price is too high? Submit a bid for a price you think is fair and then buy it. You'll find exclusive fantastic features on Prop Swap like filtering listed bets based on the best value, a free activity fee to stay in the know with red-hot tickets for sale, and a loyalty rewards program that turns your tickets into extra bonus cash. Prop Swap is America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets.
Twin Peaks is excited to announce the kickoff of their $2 million bracket challenge presented by Dos Equis. Pick the perfect bracket and grab the big prize. Plus, they're offering more ways to win, including $20,000 cash for 60-plus correct games. Twin Peaks for a year for the best overall bracket and more. TwinPeaksBracketChallenge.com to get registered and learn more. Submit your bracket for all 63 games in the men's college basketball tournament between Sunday 3/13 and Thursday 3/17 at noon. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Are you an HVAC technician, plumber, or sewer and drain specialist? Has your company been swallowed up by a national company? Concerned about becoming a small cog in a large wheel? Searching for a place where you can make a difference and feel appreciated? Then call Vasey Commercial Facility Solutions. They're hiring experienced industrial commercial technicians. Get full benefits and true work-life balance. Call Vasey now at 317-873-2512. 317-873-2512 or go to Vasey.com to learn more.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB WIBC HD3 W228CX Indianapolis.
Join me today. We're going to talk to the great Steve Alford at 1 o'clock. He is with the Nevada Wolfpack. They played Wyoming numerous times. He'll break the game down for us at 1. Steve Alford, ladies and gentlemen.
Listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
One of the truly great cities in the Midwest and one of the most fun summer cities. Low key, because you wouldn't necessarily anticipate that, but Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee. Purdue's going to be there on Friday taking on the Bulldogs of Yale. Joining us now to talk about it in the NCAA Tournament, he is the voice of the Purdue Boilermaker basketball program. Rob Blackman joins us on the Payless Liquors hotline. Rob, I'm going to get right to asking this to you. This is clearly, in Purdue's case, a massively talented and successful team. However, no Big Ten regular season title, no Big Ten postseason title. Does that put an insurmountable pressure on Purdue now to salvage something off of the season, as ludicrous as that sounds?
I don't know if that sounds that ludicrous, Jake, and thanks for having me on, by the way, because what you just said is 100% accurate. This is a massively talented team. Probably has 2 pros on it, and by pros I mean NBA players. Certainly Jaden Ivey is going to play in the NBA, and I think there's a really good chance of, before it's all said and done, that Zach Edey will end up in the NBA. So you have 2 NBA players on this roster. Expectations were through the roof when the season started because you basically returned every single player off of last year's team that had a pretty good record as well. So I don't know if pressure is the right word from the player standpoint. I don't know if the players think much about that or if that even crosses their mind. But I think just as overall in general, as a fan of Purdue basketball, you would certainly hate to see this season go by the wayside. And I guess really the only trophy you have to show for it is you won a preseason tournament over Thanksgiving out in Connecticut. I mean, that's kind of a really disappointing consolation prize.
He is voice of the Boilers, Rob Blackman. Rob, because none of us are putting on a uniform Friday, and thankfully for Purdue's sake, we can look a little bit further ahead in this bracket. When you saw the draw, whether it was Texas and Chris Beard or Kentucky as the 2, who was the 1 in Purdue's region?
Baylor.
Baylor, right, as the 1. They aren't in Chicago. They aren't in Indianapolis. What were just your overall thoughts on Purdue's draw when you look past this weekend?
Yeah, I'll start with location because I would have, Kevin, I would have bet my entire life savings that Purdue was going to be in Indianapolis. I did not see a bracketology or bracketologist with a prediction that had Purdue anywhere except Indianapolis for the last 6 weeks, maybe the last 2 months. I mean, everyone had Purdue playing in Indianapolis. So that was the first thing that completely caught me off guard, was the fact that Purdue was in Milwaukee. Now, as Jake said, Milwaukee's a hell of a fun city, and the last time Purdue was in Milwaukee for an NCAA tournament, we had a hell of a fun time. But that was the most surprising part to me, that Purdue was not in Indy. Would have certainly loved Indy Chicago, but you get neither in that particular instance. But if you're going to look further down the road, and you're right, we're not players or coaches, so we have the luxury of doing that. The first thing that jumped out to me was the fact that Chris Beard is the coach at Texas, and you already mentioned his name. Purdue fans know very well that Purdue has not had very much luck when facing Chris Beard in the NCAA tournament. It started with the Arkansas Little Rock loss out in Denver, and then of course Texas Tech beat Purdue in the Sweet 16 out in Boston. Now, to be fair to Purdue played that game without Isaac Hawes. If you remember, that was a tournament. He broke his elbow in the first game against Fullerton. So we'd like to think maybe Purdue would have beaten Texas Tech that day if they had Isaac Hawes in the lineup. But fact of the matter is, Purdue's 0-2 in its NCAA tournament career against Chris Beard. So that was the first thing that I saw that made me nervous. But I'll be very honest with you guys. I was not very nervous about the Yale Bulldogs until like these last 24 hours when I started digging in to do some research. And to be 100% transparent with you, I've gotten really nervous about Yale all of a sudden when I look at not only the players they have on their team, but the fact that their coach, James Jones, he's one of the all-time winningest coaches in Ivy League basketball. Only Pete Carell has won more Ivy League games. So that's kind of all you need to know about him. Plus, he coached Jaden Ivey and Caleb First this summer. Yale's coach was an assistant on that FIBA U19 team that won the gold medal for Team USA. So there's no other coach in America that's going to have a better scouting report on how to defend Jaden Ivey than James Jones, because he coached him this summer. So as much as I'd like to look ahead to round 2, as I said, the old Yale Bulldogs have gotten me very nervous here in the last few hours.
Well, Rob, I do want to go there, and obviously, I'm not standing in the paint crew night in and night out, so I don't have the Purdue PTSD fan that would have the North Texas Little Rock fresh on their minds. I looked at Yale and thought to myself, there's little to no height on the team. Yes, they have a great shooter, but I think Eric Hunter will draw that sort of assignment. I actually thought it was a decent opening round game, mainly because, again, Yale was not 24-4 this season, and it's not like they have or have seen the size that Purdue is going to throw at them in waves.
That's where Purdue should have a decided advantage. 6'7" is their tallest starter. As far as their regulars, they won't play anyone taller than 6'8". So yes, Purdue should have a decided advantage. But I always throw this caveat out there when you get to NCAA tournament play. Coach Katie always talked about this. Coach Painter talks about it all the time. How will the game be officiated, right? That's always such a big deal, no pun intended, big deal with Purdue because they have such a big team. You never know what you're going to get from an officiating standpoint. You know, sometimes the officials can even the playing field, if you will, in that particular game when one team has an advantage as far as in the low post. But you're correct. One would certainly think Purdue has a major advantage down low in the low post. The one thing that also bothers me, though, about Yale is, man, they know how to win. I'll profess that I know very little about the Ivy League. I don't follow it that closely. I was always under the assumption, especially the last handful of years, that Harvard was the team to beat in the Ivy League. But after, paying some attention here and doing some research the last day or so, the fact of the matter is Yale's been dominating the Ivy League the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, they've been the team to beat, not Harvard. It's been Yale. They've won like 75% of their league games in the last 5 years. They in 2019, I mean, if you remember, they took LSU to the brink in the NCAA tournament first-round game, lost by 5, which isn't bad, and they've actually won an NCAA tournament game. They beat Baylor in 2016, and I know it's not the same players, and I know it's not the same Baylor, but last I checked, Baylor's the defending national champion in 2021. So they certainly are more than capable, and that, again, I know it's not a sexy matchup when you look at it across and see a team from the Ivy League on your schedule, but man, there's just something about Yale, this team that knows how to win. They're used to winning, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and those are always the teams that make you a little nervous. Teams that know how to win because they can be awfully dangerous in an NCAA tournament setting, especially in a one-game type of a deal like this is.
Rob Blackman is our guest. He's on the Payless Liquors hotline. He's the voice of Purdue basketball. Rob, Jaden Ivey is obviously, a tremendous player. Do you think that he has, over the course of the year, finally broken through to understanding that it's okay for him to set the tone in a game as opposed to letting the game dictate when it's time for him to set the tone? Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
It does. The answer there, Jake, would be while he's certainly made strides in that in progress in that area, I don't know that he's there yet. Now he's a heck of a lot further ahead, or along, I should say, than he was earlier in the season. But there are still times when he does force the issue. And look, you understand it, right? I think most folks forget he's only a sophomore. He's a guy that averaged 14 points a game in high school his senior year. He's not a guy that is used to being a ball-dominant player, quite frankly. He didn't become a ball-dominant player until he showed up on the Purdue campus. And even then he missed, 6-7 games last year because of injury. So a lot of this is still fairly new to him. But yes, he is making strides in that area. The one thing I would really like to see for Jaden, and we talked about this on our broadcast Sunday, there were a couple times this weekend where he made the absolute right play. He drove the ball into the paint, drew a second defender, maybe a third defender, and kicked it out to the open teammate for an open three-point shot. And that teammate, whoever it might have been, and it was a variety of players, missed the open three. And from Jaden's standpoint, you just feel like, man, if that player, again, whomever it might be, could just make that shot and just reward Jaden Ivey for making the right play, if that makes sense to you guys, right? There needs to be some type of positive reinforcement, because if he's going to keep making the right play, yet his teammate's going to keep missing the open shot, all of a sudden, right, he's going to revert back to, well, I might as well try to just do this all myself because I'm the only guy down here that's going to be able to make a shot for this ball club. And we saw a little bit of that this weekend where he drove the ball into the paint, drew 2 or 3 defenders, made the right pass, found the open teammate, but he was not rewarded because the shot was missed. So I think if you could see that in the NCAA tournament, you would really see a totally different level of player in Jaden Ivey, because he certainly has the ability to make the right play and make the right pass. Now it's just a matter of rewarding him by making the shot.
He's Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilers. Again, Purdue and Yale Friday at 2:00 from Milwaukee. Rob, if there's probably been 2 or 3 areas where Purdue has shown, or these things have shown up the most in the losses, it's been some combination of turnovers, foul shooting, and defense. Of those 3, what would be atop your concern list entering the tournament?
It would be the turnovers, and an excellent point by you, Kevin. You think about just down the stretch, right? Purdue lost 3 of its last 5 games. The loss at Michigan State, turnovers. The loss at Wisconsin, free throw shooting. The loss against Iowa, a combination of the two, right? Not the best of both worlds, the worst of both worlds. You turned it over and you didn't make free throws. But I would say if you had to pick one of that group, defense, free throw, shooting, and turnovers, it would be the turnovers. And simply because of this, Purdue spent the entire season ranked first or second, sometimes dropping to third in adjusted offensive efficiency in the nation. And they're also one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation, getting about 50% of the misses. So that tells me that all you have to do is get a shot, even if it's a bad shot, because you're going to have a 50% chance of getting the rebound anyway. You're already one of the best offenses in the nation. If you miss, you have a 50-50 chance of getting a rebound, but you have to get a shot, right? That's the key. Get a shot up on the basket. And if you're going to turn it over 17 times like Purdue did against Iowa on Sunday, that's 17 less opportunities you had of getting shots. So that's where it lies right there. Don't turn the ball over. And just give yourself a chance to get the ball up on the rim. Our women's basketball coach, Katie Gerald at Purdue, she has a great line about, I'd rather get it. Let's hurry up and get a shot up before we turn it over. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Yeah, I think the Purdue men's basketball team could take a lesson there. Just get a shot up on the basket, man. You got a 50% chance of getting the rebound anyway. But if you're going to turn it over, you're just not going to give yourself any chance, and that's exactly what happened on Sunday against Iowa.
Rob, it's so funny to me when it comes to the tournament itself and you watch, you never know, to your point, like with Yale, you never know with some of the smaller conference schools. A lot of times they're senior laden. There can be some pretty tough ankle biters in there. And it almost feels like, and I think Purdue has learned this, that you got to come out and just immediately jump on those teams, because the longer you let them hang around, I don't know that it's so much that they get overly confident over the course of the game as much as teams tighten up, and then all of a sudden they're in trouble, and you just don't want to put yourself in position there. How important is it for Purdue in the first 5 to 8 minutes to just say, you know what, look, we're going to flex a little bit here?
Yeah, and I think you do that by throwing the ball inside and really setting the tone that, hey, you don't have an answer for us inside, and we're going to dominate you in the paint. And a big part of that is, again, foul trouble. The worst-case scenario for Purdue is you're 3 minutes into that game Friday, and Zach Edey has 2 fouls. Or Zach Edey has a foul, and Travion Williams has a foul. And your 2 big guys, 3 minutes into the game, already have 1 foul apiece. But the key, as far as setting the tone and what you're talking about, you said flexing, I think, Jake. Just throw the ball inside, man, and let Yale understand that, look, we have a guy that's 7'4", 295 pounds, who's very skilled, and you don't. and this is how we're going to play through the post. But if Purdue takes, bad shots early in the shot clock without throwing the ball inside first, if they turn it over, if they don't get the ball established, get the offense established with inside interior post play, then yes, all of a sudden Yale hangs around a little bit. They hit a couple threes. They get their head up, and all of a sudden you have yourself a ball game. So I would agree, first 5 minutes of that game going to be crucial for Purdue, just to set the tone again from a physicality standpoint. I think that's going to be a huge part of this ball game.
Rob, I know emotions are on edge for Boiler Nation, but this is the time of year everyone has been waiting for, and hopefully the journey can extend past Milwaukee and maybe make a stop in Philly and down in New Orleans as well. So safe travels around the Chicago traffic, and we'll be tuning in on a Friday afternoon.
Okay, Kevin, Jake, thanks for having me, guys.
That is Rob Blackman right there, the voice of the Boilers. I mean, you think about that, Jake, I think it's a great point you make about getting on a team like Yale early. Gosh, man, from a fan base standpoint, the players have got to feel it as well after North Texas last year. You do really wonder how Purdue will handle kind of late game moments when they inevitably get into them here in this run.
I just think, so much of when you watch games and you see a team, an upset brewing, you wonder how much of that is that you think to yourself, well, that's because, Yale or Little Rock or Cleveland State or Valpo is gaining confidence over the course of the game, when in reality, it may well be that what you're seeing is Purdue or Indiana or Ole Miss tightening up because they're like, wait, what's going on here? I always say, Kevin, it's like when you play pickup ball at the Y, there's always that 35-year-old short, fat, hairy, sweaty, like hairy-backed little white accountant guy that's 5'10" that's checking you from three-quarter court, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? And it totally takes you out of your game because he's taking it way too serious. And I think there are teams in the tournament that look at a smaller school and they're like, man, these guys are taking this like they're for real.
And I think the environment brings that as well. You got 8 fan bases or whatever. I guess in each pod there's 4 fan bases. Purdue's fan base will exhale over the final few minutes every time they hit a free throw or they get a stop to advance. And the 3 other fan bases will be rooting for that underdog like no other. That's just the reality of kind of where it is. And so I think trying to stay away from that environment and jumping on a team like Yale, because it's just different. One and done basketball is a totally, totally different element. All right, let's hit a Big O Tires SportsCenter update again. Reece Monaco, voice of Wyoming, is going to join us here to round out the show. But it's time for a Big O Tires SportsCenter update on the Fan.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Tonight, 9:11 p.m. Is that what time it's scheduled for? 9:10?
Estimated 9:10.
9:10 p.m. tip
True
in Dayton.
TV.
Really? What are they preempting?
Probably Impractical Jokers for the 900th time.
Yeah. I was going to guess Reno 911. Is that on there?
I think that is on there, yeah. Do you remember, did you ever watch Live PD?
Oh, yeah.
Big fan of Live PD. And then they had some issues.
Tom McCarthy, Steve Lavin, Avery Johnson on the call.
Shoot the ball.
Tom McCarthy.
Avery Johnson.
He usually gets Jags and Texans. I think he's in the Spiro Ditas category for announcing crews. So that's the True TV telecast tonight. Mike Woodson yesterday on facing the 25-8 Wyoming Cowboys.
Very, very well coached. Big team. Used to start a 6'7", 6'7" point guard. That should tell you a lot. Hunter is as good as they come at the point guard spot. They got a big presence inside with Ike. And then they got perimeter guys and Xavier and Drake and Odin, guys that can make shots. So they well balanced. And you don't win 25 games not being well balanced.
Jake, one more time before we get to tip tonight, your Jake Query scouting report on the Cowboys of Wyoming.
Pretty much, and obviously Mike Woodson would know what he said in the fact that Wyoming everything goes through Maldonado. He's their 6'7" point guard. He likes to go inside the Ike on the low block, who is left-handed and pretty versatile, but is really kind of tapered off here in the last month or so. But Maldonado, if he can't get it inside, he will try to weave his way into a mid-range shot, and they run high screens for him to get him open to do that. They do have, as Woodson mentioned there, a couple of 6'6" outside shooters that are streak three-point shooters, like a Bohannon for Iowa, not near as good a shooter. But when they get hot, Jeffries is one of them. When he gets hot, he's not afraid to pull from anywhere. But they are very feast or famine from the outside, Kevin. If their shots are falling, Wyoming's, they can be dangerous. But they rely on that a lot, and if those shots are not going down, then it could be a long night for them. I think Indiana jumps out to a lead and gets like a 7 to 10 point lead and holds on through the course of the game.
On paper, the matchup, Trace Jackson-Davis, Graham Ike, 2 double-double guys, 2 lefties, 2 post guys. So much is the similarity. I think the difference for tonight is Trace Jackson-Davis has seen a bunch of Graham Ikes throughout the Big Ten season, and Graham Ike hasn't seen anybody like Trace Jackson-Davis.
It's a very good point.
Not going to act like I watch Mountain West like Jake has, but I'm willing to bet.
Half the time they're preempted.
Xavier
Or
Providence
Impractical Jokers, actually.
a triple overtime Xavier Providence game you still haven't gotten over.
That's right. I'm still bitter.
So we'll talk to Reece Monaco again, voice of the Pokes, coming up here around 9:40, 9:45 to give us more insight on IU's matchup tonight. If Indiana wins, it will be St. Mary's on Thursday in Portland. That is a 7:20 game. St. Mary's plays a very slow pace, and we're hoping to have Randy Bennett on if Indiana wins. Is that correct?
I think that's right, yeah. Should have him Thursday.
The Gales?
Do you know what a gale is?
Bird?
I thought originally it was either a bird or for some reason I was thinking it was like a big ship. It's apparently just somebody of Gaelic background.
Really?
Did you know that, Mark?
Strong wind, I thought.
Huh?
Strong wind? Gale force winds? No.
That's spelled different, isn't it?
Is it?
That's a great point, too.
I thought that gale was IL and this gale is LE.
Maybe the ships are gales and gale force winds move them. Well, I don't know, but Scotty Johnson's writing on the board right now.
We're late. We missed our homework assignment.
Can we just get Scotty to grab a mic and just,
Oh, that too. Yeah, spelling. Oh. I guess it's
there you go.
EL versus LE. I was wrong on the spelling, but it is a spelling difference. All right, Purdue and Yale, again, 2 o'clock. Purdue a 15-point favorite. Jake, I get Boiler fans got the PTSD, but I'm not worried about this one.
Really? You never know, man.
Rob just said it. No one in their starting lineup over 6'7". No one over 6'8". Like, has Yale seen hype like this?
It's a good point. Good point.
I mean, as long as Edey and Trayvon Williams don't get into crazy foul trouble,
I'm still proud of my joke from yesterday.
Handle it.
What does a redneck say when he wants to be heard? Or what's a redneck do when he wants to be heard?
We heard it yesterday. Yeah, we get it.
Yale!
Mark is not laughing either.
Mark, did you...
What? If you want to hear those jokes, find Jake Query tonight inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
And if you're far away, I'll just yell a little bit louder and you'll be able to hear him.
He'll be over there watching Pacers and Grizzlies. The Pacers 23-46 on the year. Memphis 47-22. This might be the matchup, Jake, of two teams that have fallen short of expectations the most this season and exceeded expectations the most this season.
And, obviously for Memphis, that all goes through Ja Morant, who is one of the most dynamic talents in the league. But that sore back may not play tonight, right?
Yeah, doubtful Ja Morant. Unfortunate that sore back. Memphis 7.5-point favorite. We'll see the injury up there in the Pacers. Again, Miles Turner doesn't sound like he's playing anytime soon. Malcolm Brogdon, concussion. He missed both games this weekend. I saw the Indy Star posted a breakdown of the Malcolm Brogdon injury history, Jake. The dude has had 16 different injuries in his career.
16?
At some point, that means you're fragile, and it means like it's not just one body part, it's a nagging ankle.
Just start swimming in Epsom salt.
Like QC Kinetics on speed dial for Malcolm Brogdon. 13 games to go for the Pacers at Houston on Friday. The Trailblazers, a Sunday matinee. I guess that comes after Gamebridge Fieldhouse will host a couple of second-round games over there this weekend. Speaking of those games, Michigan, Colorado State will get things started 12:15 Thursday. Tennessee, Longwood, Kentucky, St. Peter's, and Murray State, San Francisco. If you were a part of Visit Indy, are you pleased with that 8-team
group? Kentucky's one of them, right?
Kentucky is indeed.
Okay, literally, Kentucky, the other team could be the Donner Party, and Kentucky would still sell out everything, right? Doesn't matter how bad the other team travels.
The Guam Golden Eagles could come play.
That's right. I own Guam now.
Kentucky.
It only cost me 230,000 Speedy Reward points.
Ball State's looking for a new men's basketball coach. James Whitford extended last summer. That's a little awkward. He is fired. 9 seasons there, Jake. Just 1 postseason appearance in the last 5 years, though.
Who is your big upset pick in the tournament? I just filled out my bracket. Nobody cares about your bracket, I realize, but who is yours?
I mentioned Vermont earlier over Arkansas.
Okay.
The other one that I'm starting to talk myself into is what about South Dakota State over Providence?
Yeah, Providence is a pretty underwhelming 4 seed, aren't they?
And honestly, I think Vegas doesn't have that. If the game wasn't in Milwaukee, and I don't know why I'm saying this because you'll just turn it into a toothbrush joke, but I really like Colgate over Wisconsin.
Now, why would you think I'd make I'm a little offended.
We've talked about Colgate twice in the history of the show, and both times you've been like...
Now, do you know one thing?
Really whiten your teeth.
Why would you? I mean, come on.
Mark, am I wrong?
You're not incorrect.
Thank you.
Colgate, a lot of wisdom on that team.
In my opinion, that sucked.
I had that one ready to go. I knew it was coming.
Right on cue. You guys, any upset picks?
Colgate's right on the cusp of a big win, right? Just floss right over that one.
Yeah, the second one was better than the first one.
Okay.
That's not saying much. I haven't filled out my bracket.
Yeah, I haven't
completely.
really looked too close. I'm going to do that tonight.
Okay.
At first blush, I've got New Mexico State upsetting UConn.
Ooh, man.
It's cool. I don't know much about UConn. I mean, I know Danny Hurley coaches them, but
See, I'm a big believer in where these games are played. New Mexico State's flying to Buffalo. UConn's playing in Buffalo.
Loyola Chicago stunning Ohio State.
Boy, you talk about a team that's reeling right now.
Buffalo, site of Bob Knight's last game for Indiana. I'll never forget Ed Sorensen saying to me, Jake, as we were watching Pepperdine up 21 on Indiana in Buffalo, Ed Sorensen said to me, Jake, don't ever forget, one moment you're cutting down national championships and on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and the next moment you're getting blown off the floor by a bunch of surfers because they lost to Pepperdine.
That is humbling.
I will say, I really like Memphis, but they go up against Gonzaga in the second round. And it's hard to think Gonzaga doesn't get back to the Final Four, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis kind of shocked the world there.
I got Memphis losing to Boise.
Yeah, I mean, Boise's ranked now, right? Colorado State over Michigan. I like that. I think there are 3 Big Ten teams that could bow out early. Iowa, I think, could get beat by Davidson. Is Iowa Davidson?
No, Michigan State.
Iowa's Richmond.
Iowa's Richmond. Okay, I think Richmond could beat Iowa. Only because Iowa, doesn't it always seem like there's some team that catches fire in their conference tournament and then comes out and just runs out of gas? And then Davidson, Michigan State. That's the other one that I would look at. The music ran out. Is that bad?
Yeah, someone points out my Purdue, Yale. I also wasn't worried about the Colts beating the Jags. Trust me. Rosie's diapers have told me that over the last few
Isn't that what you
days.
said?
I indeed said that. I thought there's no chance in hell. I still I don't wake up, Jake, a few nights a week think about it, but there are a few points during each week where I'm like, wow, the Colts really lost the Jacksonville
And not only
Jaguars.
lost.
Got killed.
Yes. They were never in it from the get-go.
We'll talk more upsets. Hopefully have better success with our brackets. And Reece Monaco, voice of the Pokes, going to join us here in about 10 minutes. But right now, it is pop quiz time. 317-239-1070. Give us a call. Jiffy Lube prize pack up for grabs on the pop quiz.
Springtime in Indy. The home really took a hit this winter. Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41. So don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino.
If you love listening to our shows, then you've got to follow us on our social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Search 1075 The Fan and share your opinions with us on our posts.
Do you feel boxed in by the pressures of running your business? With 30-plus years of HR experience, Insperity can help lighten your load. Expand your possibilities at Insperity.com.
Yeah, thankfully I wasn't crazy enough to bet on the Colts beating the Jags. I did have Cam Smith yesterday. What a wild finish of the Players' Championship. We're talking money, though, and if you need to save money, Golden Oak Lending can help us out. A few weeks ago, I talked to their owners, and they're great people looking to help all of us out. Even if you refinance as recently as last year, Golden Oak might be able to lower your interest rate even further and put money in your pocket. Good news is, even though costs may be rising, you can still lower your monthly mortgage payments with Golden Oak Lending's low 2.25% rate. Among the many things I love about Golden Oak is no cost for an appraisal. That's right, simply just picking up the phone and seeing if they can meet your goals costs absolutely nothing. And who you talk to is going to be a local loan officer right here in Indianapolis, not some call center around the nation. Golden Oak's experienced local loan officers make refinancing and buying a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon or numbers. No matter your unique situation or goals, you have an expert lending partner for life in Golden Oak Lending. Head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity can do for you. NMLS 114937, 2.25% APR. 3.36% fixed rate, 15% APR, and 20% equity or approved credit.
Every dribble, every pass, and every bucket, all in the palm of your hand. Because now you can sign up and bet. No strings attached with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app featuring award-winning customer service. Live in-game bets, player props, and instant betting bucket to bucket. Don't miss out on all the big games. Get in the action with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility and save money at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Replace your old wiper blades with a new pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and save $10 now at O'Reilly. Our professional parts people will even install them for free. See better and drive safer with new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts in store or online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Big free throw right there for the Vikings. There he is, Bryce Drew, 6'3" senior.
14 points in the quarter, 31 of the night. They got to hustle and got to fire the three. Tough defense by Drew. Outside. It's on the way. It is gone! And it happened at the buzzer. No time left. We're going overtime. They get it across the timeline. Ball game is over. The basket will count by Mark Turin. And the celebration begins.
That was Bryce Drew before he was hitting big shots. Pacer was the name of that play that he had when he hit the big shot that knocked Ole Miss out of the NCAA tournament, I believe 1997 when he did that. But what you just heard, the 1994 state championship game, South Bend Clegg 93, Valpo 88. So Valpo and Bryce Drew on the short end of it. But you know that he went on to become Mr. Basketball and, of course, coach a number of different places, Vanderbilt included, for Bryce Drew after a stop in the NBA. In that game, he did have 32 points, 28 of them in the second half. The reality is, Kevin, that when it comes to high school basketball, your chance to see perhaps the next Bryce Drew.
Yeah, semi-state time is here. It's your chance to see future stars in person for a whole lot less money than what you'll pay to watch them in college or the pros. Again, semi-state round, we've got 4 classes, of course, and they're all playing for a trip to Gamebridge Fieldhouse. One game on Saturday afternoon. You win, you come to downtown Indianapolis, and it is a lot of new teams. I think only one state finalist from last year remains in all 4 classes. So for game schedules and locations, visit IHSA.org. Don't miss it. Nothing compares to attending an IHSA basketball tournament game in person.
The Ride with JMV.
Gus Bradley, who is the new defensive coordinator of the Colts.
I think as a defensive coordinator, you're always looking at that fourth quarter rush and how important it is. It wins games for you. It starts up front with our defensive line, and then we build around that. And those cover corners, especially in our style of play, I mean, we're going to be aggressive on the perimeter. You see a lot of press coverage. You know, we've got to win, at the line of scrimmage.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
All right, Mark, we're going to get right to it since we got Reese coming up here in about 10 minutes. Who do we have on the phone line?
Big Glenn.
Big Glenn.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
What's up, Glenn? Haven't seen you in a while. How you been?
I've been doing great, man. Going to the game tonight. Hopefully we get this Pacers win.
All right, fair enough. Look for me.
I was going to say, Jekyll and Yale to you if you were listening before.
Oh, Yale. That's right.
Yeah,
All right, Glenn, question number 1 for you. The NCAA Tournament, of course, getting underway tonight with the first 4 in Dayton. Since the advent of the first 4 back in 2001, the games have always been played at UD Arena except for last year. Keep in mind, last year was a little bit unique because of COVID. Name the 2 arenas that served as the home to the first 4 games last year. 2 different arenas.
Mackey Arena, Swampy Hall.
Okay.
That, Glenn on it. By the way, Glenn, I know you came out to Beers with Bo, and I think last time Jake and I will be doing an event here coming up. We'll have more details on that, but just wanted to keep you informed of that.
Sounds good.
Number 2, both IU and Notre Dame have first 4 games in this year's NCAA tournament. Name the last Indiana school to play in the first 4. Ball State, Valpo, IUPUI, or is this the first time Indiana schools have been involved in the first 4?
Valpo.
Okay.
You sure?
Let's go IUPOI.
Never happened.
Never happened.
All right, it never happened. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It is. All right.
Question 3. Karl Anthony Towns scored 60 points. Stephen Curry had 47, and Trae Young scored 46 in last night's NBA action. That's the first time that there have been 45-point scores in 3 different games in the same night in NBA history. The last time the NBA had 3 different 45-point scores on the same day, all 3 did it in the same game. Now, wait a minute. It says the first time there's been a 45-point score in 3 different games. Sorry. It's happened before in the same day, but it was all in the same game. It was the highest scoring game in NBA history between the Nuggets and the Pistons in 1983. Name the 3 players who had over 45 points in that game. 2 of them are in the Hall of Fame, and 2 of the 3 were Nuggets.
Isaiah Thomas, Fat Lever, and I have no clue on the third.
Wow.
It came right out of the box with that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, all right. Number 4 here, Glenn. Curry's 47-point effort last night came on his 34th birthday. Who holds the NBA record for most points scored on his birthday? Is it Curry, LeBron James, Shaq, or Dominique Wilkins?
Dominique Wilkins.
Last question. Bobby Bonds was born on this day in 1946, although he is best known for being Barry's dad, of course. Bobby Bonds himself, pretty good player, 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner for 8 different franchises in a 14-year Major League career. 8 different franchises was the high for Bobby Bonds, but is just over halfway to the Major League record for playing for 14 different teams. Name the former pitcher who played for 14 different Major League franchises. Is it Octavio Dotel, Ron Vallone, Mike Morgan, or Edwin Jackson?
Edwin Jackson.
Nice.
Man, Glenn, you were on it here. All right, Jake, let's see how he did. Number 1, last year, the first 4, where were those games? Obviously not in Dayton with the pandemic and the tournament all here. He said Mackey and Assembly Hall.
Boom, baby! He's right. Question number 2, by the way, this is indeed the first time that an Indiana school has been in the first 4.
Let's go! Oh, gosh, no, number 3.
Okay, question 3. By the way, one of these guys, Isaiah Thomas is correct with 47. He was right about that. He then said Fat Lever, and I can't remember the other one that he guessed. But the other 2 were the guy that actually ended up in Denver, started as a Pacer, was traded to Denver for George McGinnis, because at that time, Denver assistant Donnie Walsh liked Alex English because he had played for him at South Carolina. And then Kiki Vandeweghe was the 3rd.
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
Holy my.
Shaquille O'Neal, by the way, 61 points on his 28th birthday in 2000. That is the last 60-point game by a center before Karl Anthony Towns last night. Edwin Jackson is indeed the correct answer.
Thank you, Glenn, for calling in. Reece Monaco, voice of the Wyoming Cowboys. He's in Dayton to call the game tonight against Indiana Hoosiers. We'll find out more about the Cowboys next here on Kevin and Query.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper-gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper-gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
Hey, Sam Van Fellas, do you still need to get your annual health exam? I personally recommend Low T Center to get your complete health assessment where they check all of your levels and typically completely covered by most health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit. Get that complete health assessment today at Low T Center. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. That's lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Could taxes be dragging down your portfolio? Join Edelman Financial Engines on Tuesday, March 29th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern for our brand new virtual event, 6 Tax Smart Investing Strategies. We'll show you why tax-efficient investing makes a big difference and how to make it part of your overall wealth management plan. Register now at planefe.com to learn about tax drag and how you can help overcome it. See how tax loss harvesting can help you offset capital gains. And find out how to make the most of tax-advantaged accounts for retirement, education, and healthcare. Register now and you'll also get a free retirement review with one of our experienced wealth planners. That's an $800 value. Join us for this special virtual event, 6 Tax Smart Investing Strategies on Tuesday, March 29th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get a free retirement review by registering now at planefe.com. That's planefe.com. Edelman Financial Engines. From here forward.
Join Planet Fitness now through March 16th and get the PF Black Card for zero enrollment and $22.99 a month. You'll enjoy an upgraded experience with tons of perks.
Like access to more than 2,000 locations worldwide?
Yep.
Super soothing hydro massage chairs?
Yes.
Can I bring a friend every time?
Sure.
Can my friend be a horse?
Nay. Sorry. Get the PF Black Card and feel fit-tacular. Zero enrollment, $22.99 a month. Deal ends March 16th. See Club for details.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Here's what's happening with The Fan.
Celebrate St. Patrick's Day with The Fan. Live from O'Reilly's downtown this Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. It's JMB on the 2022 Tavern Tour. Brought to you by Evan Williams. Stop by for your chance to win a $50 gift card and to pick up a Tavern Tour t-shirt. Dan Dockich is on the road this Thursday as he heads to Bottle Works downtown to celebrate B-Ball Bash. Come catch all the basketball games and say hi to Dan.
For more info, click on 1075thefan.com. The Pacers return to the Fieldhouse to face the Memphis Grizzlies this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And I'm headed out west, sucker, because I want to be a cowboy, baby.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let's get right to it tonight. Indiana, Wyoming in Dayton, the first four. Joining us now, and I'm assuming in Dayton and not in the second greatest state in the land, Wyoming. He is the voice of the Wyoming Cowboys on their radio network for basketball. Reece Monaco joins us to talk about the game. Reece, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you doing today?
We're good. Let me ask you this. This has got to be kind of crazy for Wyoming because here all of a sudden you've got to go to Dayton. Then if they were to win, they've got to immediately, I would imagine, hop on the bird right away and get out west for St. Mary's. And we were talking about this, and Kevin made a good point. In the Mountain West, that's not totally atypical, right? Because that is a league where there's a lot of travel.
Hello.
Yeah, it certainly is. We do get on the plane and fly around. I mean, there's a lot of places. I mean, it's tough for getting out of Laramie is okay. Like getting to Laramie for a lot of teams is a very difficult proposition when they need to try and fly in and
Denver, then bus up if they can't get a charter. So, we're used to getting into some tough places, actually living in one of those the whole time. But yeah, it's not they call it Paradise for a reason, because people just don't like going there. I can tell you that.
I have watched, Reece, a lot of Wyoming this year. I was in your arena just before the season began. I love Laramie. I love the campus. And so I've really kind of followed what they've done this year. And it seems to me, and I want you to tell me if this is me being too critical, it seems to me like Wyoming's taken the different trajectory of Indiana. Indiana was on the outside looking in and kind of played their way into the last couple of weeks of the season. Wyoming, on the other hand, looked like a solid 8 to 9 seed and then kind of backpedaled their way into this situation. Is it correct in saying that the last month has been a more vulnerable team than they were, let's say, in December, January?
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, Wyoming nearly played their way out of this tournament, guys. It was they just hit a stretch there where, their two best players, when you're playing so many teams in the league and they get real familiar with what you do offensively, they were able to shut down Wyoming's big man Graham Ike and slow down Hunter Maldonado a little bit. And it was just frustrating to kind of watch. Graham had been so good all season long. And then late in the year, the Cowboys, they always say they have a game that travels, but unfortunately for their game, the defense wasn't there and the offense was just kind of stagnant at times. And when you have an offense that goes through two guys like Wyoming has, it goes through Hunter Maldonado and Graham Ike, and when teams do a good job of slowing those guys down, Cowboys struggle to score points, and that's what happened there towards about the last 3 weeks of the last of the season, where they nearly played themselves out of getting this at-large bid. And it's exciting. They had that watch party, and there was a lot of stress in that room, a lot of relief when Wyoming's name was called alongside Indiana's in this first 4 game here in Dayton. And it was relief, to be honest with you, because there was a lot of doubt whether or not the Cowboys were going to get to this point or not after the way they had played down the stretch.
Reece, Jake is certainly a rare commodity for many reasons. One of those being he's watched a lot of Wyoming basketball, and frankly, for people here in this state, we haven't seen a lot of the Pokes this season. Greatest strength, greatest weakness, I guess, or area of concern for Wyoming heading into tonight?
Well, I would say probably their greatest strength to get them to this point was their ability to go out and defend and play defense, and that's what Coach Linder always says. He goes, defense travels. We can take defense. If the offense is having an off day, the defense can still keep teams in, still keep you in games. But the greatest strength for this team was the post play with Graham Ike. I mean, he's a lot like Jackson Davis. They're similar in size, except Jackson Davis for Indiana, I believe, is much more athletic than Graham is inside, and I think he has much more. He has better range when it comes to shooting the ball. I was over at watching the practices yesterday and watching him move around on the floor. Boy, he's an impressive young man. He's one of those 18 points, 8 rebounds type of guys, kind of like Graham is, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that matchup and how those two guys will get after each other in this game. But that's going to be a big one. But boy, I was impressed with Jackson Davis. Just his ability to move and shoot and jump. When he jumped, I looked at the guys I was with and just went, holy cow. He just flat exploded off the floor, and it was real impressive to see. So I'm kind of looking forward to that matchup between Jackson Davis and Graham Ike today and see what can happen. But Graham has been struggling, and, teams have really been doubling down on him and being physical and frustrating him in the post, and it's carried over to his game. I mean, this is a guy that throughout most of the season was shooting about 50% from the floor, but last 5 games here, he's about 30. He just is struggling shooting the ball and getting the ball in the basket. So greatest strength for the Cowboys, I would say, would have been that post game and their defense, but their weakness is sometimes just turning the ball over. In the Mountain West Conference Tournament, the last 2 games in the Mountain West Tournament, they turned the ball over 30 times. And when you play an offense, when you have an offense like the Cowboys do, a deliberate style of offense, you just can't have empty offensive possessions like that by turning the basketball over and giving the other team opportunities. So that was one of their biggest weaknesses, I think, in the Mountain West Conference Tournament, was just turning the basketball over, and a lot of them weren't forced. They were just flat out mistakes by the Cowboys. So, coming into this, hopefully they can, enjoy the moment and put a lot of those mistakes behind them and really focus on Indiana. But boy, when I saw Indiana pop up next to Wyoming, I go, "Boy, they're getting blue blood in this thing." And everybody knows Indiana. Those famous sweatpants they wear where they warm up, the red stripes. So it's going to be impressive to see them when they come out onto the floor and go, "Man, the Cowboys are playing Indiana," and it's going to be a fun matchup, I think. And I think it's going to be physical. That's the way Big Ten basketball is, and that's kind of the way the Mountain West had been down the stretch here with Graham. It was just real physical, and he needs to be able to step up and respond to that.
Now, Indiana has the candy stripe warm-ups, but Wyoming's got a naked guy with a barrel, right?
Barrel man, yeah, he's interesting to say the least. He travels the away tournament to the Mountain West Conference basketball tournament. His name's Ken. They call him Cowboy Ken. And, he's become his own little, kind of like the duck man from San Jose State. He was getting a lot of attention himself at the conference tournament. So we'll see how it goes. But I have a feeling that just watching the shoot around with Indiana yesterday, there was quite a few Indiana fans in the stand. And it only being about a 2-hour drive from Bloomington down here today.
No, it's going to be awfully red.
A crowd here tonight, and I think that will certainly help the Hoosiers. When you have a good crowd on your back, that is a definite help for the team.
Yeah, but when you got a naked guy in a barrel, I mean,
you're going to apply for that job, right? If things don't work out here, Jake.
I'm going to be the new Cowboy guy. Yeah, barrel man. Hey, last thing here, Reece Monaco is our guest, the voice of the Wyoming Cowboys. When I have watched Wyoming, and I haven't watched them every game, but I've watched probably 10 games. What I notice is, along with Maldonado and Ike, and there's no doubt that those are the two main cogs of the offense, but Oden coming in and trying to slash in from the perimeter, and then as well Jeffries, if he can get hot from the outside, that seems to be kind of what complements Wyoming's offense. And if Jeffries, who's not afraid to pull from anywhere, is not hitting his outside shots, or Oden is not on in terms of his slashing into the rim, then that seems to all of a sudden make their offense just too predictable. Those two seem to be the complementary pieces that really kind of fuel things at times. Fact or fiction?
Well, yeah, I agree with that 100%. And that's one of the things that both Hunter and Graham need to do when the double teamers are coming. That means somebody's open, so they got to get the ball out to Drake Jeffries. And he is a streak shooter. He's one of those guys that can go on a run and knock down 4 or 5 straight. And Jeremiah Odom is an explosive type player. He's real athletic. He can jump. He doesn't shoot the three really well, but he's at his best when he's kind of, like you said, slashing and trying to get to the rim. He's started to develop a little fadeaway in the lane that he's been really effective with. But yeah, those guys, and that is a big thing. The role players and that has hurt the Cowboys down the stretch is that the role players, the Jeffries, the Odens, and the Xavier Ducells, have not been stepping up and making their shots. And when they're not making their shots, that just puts that much more pressure on Maldonado and Ike. So, yeah, those guys are a huge part of this offense if they can step up and knock down some shots and just loosen things up on the inside for Graham.
Reece, I can tell the excitement, certainly, to see the name pop up, and obviously tonight playing a program like Indiana. So, enjoy it, and if you are getting on a run, safe travels back across the country for the game on Thursday. But have a great call tonight, and I appreciate you making time for us this morning.
No, certainly. Well, when we flew in, I looked at Kevin McKinney, the guy that does color, and I looked at him and said, I can't believe we're even here. And I tell you what, the people of Dayton do an amazing job welcoming teams in. When we got to the hotel, there was a band there playing, and they are some of the most welcoming people, and they do a good job of putting this first four on. And they really make you feel like you're part of this, and it's a big deal. And that's the one thing Coach Linder is trying to get across to his guys, that, you know what, enjoy the moment, but while you're enjoying the moment, you also have to maintain focus and be ready to play. And, just check the nerves at the door. It's, in the end, it's just another basketball game. You got to go out and make shots and play defense and see where it goes. And you're playing a blue blood like Indiana. It is, and I thought it was awesome when I saw Indiana's name come up. And I've known Don Fisher I talked to him for a while. They're play-by-play guy for a couple of times out in North Carolina. He just seems like a pretty decent dude as well. So it's just I'm looking forward to this matchup, and watching the two teams shoot around. There was different approaches at the practice yesterday. The Cowboys were much more structured for 40 minutes, running plays, running offense. Indiana came out and put up a bunch of threes. They were a lot loose. They were looser than the Cowboys were, and seemed a lot more smiles, and seemed like they were having a lot more fun at their shoot around yesterday than the Cowboys did. So that to me tells a coach, and that has been through this before, and he has his team ready to go. And the Cowboys hopefully will take that practice, that much more structured practice that they have, where they played hard and went up and down the floor for 40 minutes. But that's not the style of play. They are definitely a half-court team. If you watched them about 10 times this season, they're not going to a get out and run type of team. They are definitely a half-court type of offense, and that's what they showed yesterday at the shoot-around.
It'll be fun tonight, Reece. Thank you. That's Reece Monaco, the voice of the Pokes right there to round things.
Reece is fired up, man. I love it.
Reece is ready to go. He's fired up. We are as well. We'll be recapping it all tomorrow. Join us.
Join James